It feel like I'm falling. Feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. Real eyes see real eyes, real shit, real life, real rare. I'm on edge, I make noise, they all is, no cap, all facts. Eyes low, but I'm still woke. No patience, heart glacier, can't see me. The young ghost, phone blare, overbearing. Shit a blessing that I overcherish. Got these rap niggas eyes open glaring, cause they overjealous. I'm so overzealous. Whiskey side with the rosemary. And used to want it, not a whole staring. I was back before I could afford a care. Now we on course to take the tour to Paris. I blew up the bag that hit me as bad. The guy from the racks that they chastised. They could fast die, telling mad lies. Going bad, tell them get they act right. On my last light, I poured a potion, I've been out of orbit. I've been moving slowly, got me going up, they got my head clouded. I've been good by the morning. At the time of my life, right for the squad, no lights through the fog, but we made it. Yeah. I'll be good by the morning. Feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. I feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling. Feel like I'm falling. It feel like I'm falling.
NationIvey.com. Mr. Ivey know the show must go on. And for Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised dogs, close fish, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info about it? Hey yo, John will be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivey, so superlative like a bag of Grippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
This is so typical for me. But today, family, I honestly got more things that I want to talk about than time that I have time to talk about it in. Good morning to you. We'll see if we can push it all in together. If not, I'll save some of these superlative flows for tomorrow. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the show. I thought it may take me a little longer to get the show up this morning. I'm glad it did not. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. And I'm ready to do it. Man, there's so much to talk about. It is so much to talk about this morning. Last night was a big night in terms of local politics. If you live in the greater Cincinnati area, good morning to you. Welcome back to the show. If you live in the greater Cincinnati area, last night was a big night in terms of politics. I want to show you something. Look at this print right here. You know, I just had a birthday. My sister got me this. Look at this. I'm about to look for a frame today. Is that Killmonger? If that's Killmonger, sis knows me well. I'm rolling with the villains. I'm rolling with the villains this morning. Good morning to you. And welcome back to the last honest place in Cincinnati media. If not the state of Ohio, if not this whole side of the country, if not the world, Craig, somewhere on Mars right now, aliens are tapping into the Nathan Ivey show because they're smart, intelligent beings. Good morning to you. So do the world a favor and please like and share this so that after the Armageddon or the apocalypse or whatever the hell, one of these anti-vaxxers is going to press the button and blow our deal, right? The remnants of our civilization will include the recording of this show. And then future mankind, or I guess alien beings or whatever, will know that somebody has some damn sense. It's us. Nate and the Choppers, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Choppers. Good morning.
Get to the chopper!
Of course, last night you had a couple of local political events. You had the NAACP and the Prince Hall Masons. They did their second round of Cincinnati City Council candidate forums. It was moderated by Lincoln Ware. It was powered by Sin Digital Media. Again, we support the NAACP because they support the community. I keep saying it. If you support our community, I support you, period. And I do that because I feel that, right? And I thought it was a very, very, very good forum. I thought that there's some really, really strong candidates in that field, in that particular bunch, or batch, or last night. That's just me because I'm working behind the scenes to make sure everything is, working smoothly, but I'm getting a chance to hear everything that's being heard. So it was almost as if I was moderating because I had to pay that much attention to everything that they said. So I pretty much got it. And it was some strong candidates on there last night. I must say that. Just very strong. So we shall see, man. I think it's exciting. To me, this is exciting. It's exciting. I'm not as excited as if I was a candidate, but I'm pretty much like right below that excited because we get a chance to set a whole new everything, whole new council, whole new mayor. We get a chance to really set the tone for the next 8 to 10 years in terms of who's going to be council leadership. This kind of moment doesn't come around a whole lot. So again, I just want to remind people that the last day to register is October the 4th, 2021. This is a slide that's provided by the Cincinnati NAACP. And we show this slide every time they do an event. But it works for my purposes this morning as well. Check this out of this. All the information that you need. And if you are not already registered, the last day to register in the upcoming election, you can be a part of this. You can't tell me, and listen, I don't want to hear no games, man. I don't want to hear no belly aching. I don't want to hear no games. What they got, like 30-something candidates? You can't find one candidate that you like? One? Come on, yo. You can't tell me that. You can't find one? I don't believe it. Don't tell me that. You can find at least one candidate. You got 6 school board candidates. 2 of them are incumbents. You can't find one that you like? Not one? Tap into the forums and maybe you can find out. And then with the mayor's race, of course, Cincinnati.com, I think it was Xavier University, WVXU, and one other folks. They came together and put together the mayoral debate. The NAACP is going to do one as well. And I thought it was quite interesting. It was very revealing, very revealing. I'll tell you this much. For me personally, when I start seeing candidates that like to pick and everything that comes out of your mouth is what the other person is doing and not doing, and you're not talking about your record, it tells me something. It tells me something. And there were a couple of pivotal moments. I stayed up late last night so I can consume as much so I can be on point. You sleep. You get your rest in. Let me do this. I got this. Okay, I'll break it down for you. I always keep it real. Never going to lie to you. I'm biased against dumb-ish. If you on some dumb-ish, I ain't got no time for you. but always come with the facts and keep it real and try to be fair across the board. And I'm gonna do just that this morning with my flows about the mayoral debate last night. It was quite interesting. There were a couple of pivotal moments there that I thought was very revealing about the two candidates. And in my opinion, I think there's worlds apart between the two in terms of the energy they're going to bring and the attitude and their focus. But we'll talk about that. First, I want to get your thoughts about this. We'll talk about the forum. First, we're going to talk about the NAACP Prince Hall Mason Forum. Then we'll move on. But we've been following this case about the black female law student who was found shot to death. And from the jump, this story just like, for whatever reason, captured a lot of people's attention. You know, black woman, she young, she in her 30s. All this violence out here. NKU student, seems like she's got the right trajectory to her life. Mother, got a couple of kids, I believe. Condolences and prayers go out to the family of everybody that's affected. And nobody wins in a situation like this. But I saw people are posting inside the Friends page. That is a closed Facebook group. Consider this an invitation. Just knock on the door. We'll answer and let you in if you're interested in it. And basically, you know, I go there every single day, several times a day. I post there. You know, that's my primary stop. And there's a lot of good people that spend their time populating that and updating it. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you know I feel that way sincerely. Okay. You're doing a service for this show, for the community, for me. I go there every day. It's the first place I go when I get on the internet to look at topics. First place. Those my people's in there. My people's in there. So feel free to join and post. Makes no difference to me, you know, what you post, quite honestly. But somebody posted an article this is from Channel 5, WLWT. Hamilton County prosecutor says no charges in the shooting death of an NKU, that's Northern Kentucky University law student, mother of two. The backstory, man. This is the backstory. Joe Dieter says there'll be no charges filed because, in his opinion, this is a clear-cut case of self-defense. Huh? What? Apparently, this woman, her name is Sierra Allen, she was shot and killed at around 2:30 a.m. back on September 11th in the 2300 block of St. James Avenue in Walnut Hills. Now, I grew up in Walnut Hills. That was my stomping ground. And I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, I know exactly where the 2300 block of St. James Avenue is. Yeah. The wife and I was talking. She had a friend that lived on St. James Avenue. So if you live in Cincinnati, Cincinnati can be very, very small. So check out this backstory, man. This is something that's so wild. And what's the moral of the story? What do we learn from this? I'm open to hear whatever you have to share on this, but here are the new details. Joe Dieter said that the woman who was killed, Sierra Allen, basically there was some type of fight at a youth football event earlier in the day. And after the fight ended, he's saying that this 30-year-old woman named Sierra Allen showed up at the home of a woman that she had got into an altercation with earlier in the day. From what I read, and I put it that way because this is coming out of Joe Dieter's mouth, and you know how I feel about Joe Dieter's. He says that Sierra Allen earlier in the day was the person who was causing, she like started the physical confrontation. Apparently it led to some type of injuries to some kind of woman, the woman that she ended up going back to her house. And then at 2:30 in the morning, she shows up at this woman's house, bamming on the door. The woman answers the door with her gun on her. Answers the door with her gun ready, opens the door, and according to Joe Dieter, Sierra Allen lunged at the woman. The woman, afraid for what her life and her safety, opens fire, kills her, calls 911, tries to give, I guess, CPR or something, but the woman died. He says that's a clear-cut case of self-defense. Quote, the woman, fearing for her safety, approached the door with a gun. When the door opened, Allen allegedly charged the shooter who fired one shot, Joe Dieter said. Sierra Allen was struck and taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, later pronounced dead. So let's just say let's say those are the facts. Those are the facts. If that is in fact what happened, if we can believe, and again, it's a damn shame I had to put it this way, but we talking about Joe Dieters. Y'all know I don't have no confidence in this man whatsoever. I have no idea what justice is. I don't know what child endangerment is. If you can live a kid in a hot car all day long and say, oops, my bad, I forgot, and you get no charges, but then you can leave a kid in a car and run into Walmart for 20 minutes and you get charged. I have no idea what justice is under prosecutor Joe Dieters' regime. I have no idea whatsoever. And I mean that sincerely. I really don't know. Like, you know, you can have your car idling in your driveway. Somebody jumps into the car, drives the wrong way in the cul-de-sac. Then they got to come back toward the house. You can run out the house, get in the middle of the street, fire bullets into the windshield, kill somebody, and that's self-defense. And you put yourself in harm's way. I don't know what is self-defense. Those are two true scenarios that happen under Joe Dieters' regime. I have no idea what any of this means. I don't know what justice is. I don't know what self-defense is. I'm being straight up on you. I have no idea. To me, it seems like it's a case-by-case basis, which to some degree I think makes sense. But this is make it up as you go along, whatever he feels. Say, take a dart, throw it at the, oh, we're going to have to charge you. Right? Other days, take a dart, throw it, oh, not guilty, no charges. This is self-defense. I have no idea. Now, I don't mean to make light of something because somebody died here and then, you know, somebody else is dealing with the fact that they killed somebody. But yeah, I have no idea. But this is what let's take him for his word. Let's take facts. Let's say that the facts as they've been put out in the media, as I've just read to you, are the facts. Is this self-defense in your opinion? Now, you know we got that stand your ground in Ohio. 513-873-7134. Somebody knocks on your door 2:38 in the morning. You had got into a confrontation with them early in the day. They already put their hands on you. They knock on your door. You open the door. And I mean, we could talk about this. I mean, like, if you're afraid for your life, are you opening your door at 2:30 in the morning? I'm trying to figure out what I would do. And I don't think I'm opening a door. Because if I open the door, I'm going to have to shoot you. I'm going to have to kill you. So as long as you outside, I'm just going to call the boys. Keep things simple. Hey, boys, somebody, he already put his hands on me. You better come get him or I have to kill him. Boom. That's what I might do. That's probably what I would do, quite honestly. As long as you outside, you outside. You know what I'm saying? You ain't in here. You know what I'm saying? Now, you kick the door in, you know, heaven help you. It is what it is. But you open the door to say what exactly? Did you open the door to kill them? I mean, just think about this scenario for a second. You get into an altercation. Number one, why are people getting into fucking altercations at football games? I keep telling people these are for enemies. These are for my enemies. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. I reserve this for people that are threats. You ain't did something serious to me. This little pity patty back and forth. You said this, me back. I don't give a damn about none of that. Like I said, I've walked away from so many that people talking ish and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it gets irritating, whatever. But like I said, this is not a joke. These are not to be played with. You know what I'm saying? This is for enemies. This ain't for somebody just popping off at the mouth. I'll let you keep on talking and just keep on walking with it. I've done it do it all the time. Oh, really? I just look at you like, oh, okay. Keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Who the hell getting into it at a youth football game? Now, on the surface, it might seem like it's small, but when people dealing with their children, whether it be a youth football game or Chuck E. Cheese pizza party or whatever the hell, it could be at the swimming pool, that is serious business. That is not a joke. When you're dealing with people with children and a family, that is the most dangerous thing in the world to be dealing with. The most dangerous person in the world is a family man. It is the most dangerous thing in the world. They'll take you and take your spine out on some Mortal Kombat finishing moves. It's just not a game. It is not to be played with. And I don't know the circumstances of what happened at this particular youth football game. It could have been two kids get roughhousing and then parents stand up and one parent said, that's how it goes, man. I done seen grown men get into fights over foul calls on basketball courts. And I'm thinking, y'all fighting over this? Because what happens is, at least when it's a man involved, your ego get involved. Now it ain't even about the game. Now you done disrespected me. You know what I'm saying? And men and disrespect and all that kind of shit, it's a dangerous proposition. It is very dangerous. It is not to be played with. Not to be played with. I get it. I don't understand all of the scenarios or some of the scenarios that I've seen, but I do understand that can be a very, very dangerous scenario, and you dealing with a grown person. What you looking for? It's right here. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. That's a very dangerous scenario. Very dangerous scenario. I'm trying to think, my daughter does sporting events. Is there a scenario in which I might have to put my foot in somebody's, Absolutely, because my daughter's out there, but it would have to be something that really warranted. Like they would have to deserve that. It'd be more than them just talking ish, because I'm stronger than that. I'm tougher than a man talking ish to me, and now I got a foreign Voltron on you. That don't really... that don't really phase me like that. Yeah, it'll get me going internally. But like I said, if you ain't no threat to me, I'm not going to treat you like you a threat. Now, you show up at my door at 2:30 in the morning, that's more of a threat. That's more of a threat right there. But I keep asking myself, do I open the door with my gun in my hand? Now, the backstory on this from what I read is apparently these two women knew each other. One question that I have when I see other people posted inside the friends page is, we know the race of the woman that's dead, but what's the race of the woman that pulled the trigger? Is she black? Is she white? Does it make a difference? You better believe it makes a difference. Stop asking. Stop lying to yourself. Of course it makes a difference, but I don't know. From what I read, these women knew each other. They used to be friends, and sometimes friends to frenemies. Those can be some of the worst scenarios in the world, People's feelings get involved, and I told you what I was going to do and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. It's just so many ways to unpack this as a real human being. I want to get your thoughts about it. So Joe Dieter says, no charges, self-defense. I gave you, I broke down for you exactly, damn near word for word, what's in the news article. This is what's being reported by the news. Straight from the mouth, apparently, from Joe Dieter, a Hamilton County prosecutor. If in fact the facts are as they've been put out there, do you believe that this is self-defense? I'd like to get your thoughts. Put yourself in that scenario. Put yourself in that scenario. You at a youth football game with your babies in them, your nieces and nephews in them, your grandsons in them, or maybe it's a friend of the family. You out to support. Something jump off between you and another parent or something. Y'all going back and forth. Y'all might even get into a little scuffle. All right. Flash forward hours later, you are home sleep. Bamming on your door, your window shaking. You ever had somebody bam on your door so much that the windows start shaking in your house? You gonna break my windows. Right? What do? You get your gun. I see that. Do you open the door? You open the door? I don't know. You tell me. 513-873-7134. Ray writes, good risings all. Good to see you, Ray. What do you do? So I want to get your thoughts on that. Plus, I'm going to break down the NAACP form last night. You have some very interesting candidates that were on full display last night. Let me see if I still got the cover art here. Yeah. This is from last night. There it is. You had Reggie Harris, Michelle Dillingham, Greg Landsman, Brian Gary, Mika Owens. And this brother Simmering, he must not be really running for council because he didn't show up. And as I understand, this is the second time. Now, the NAACP will do what they want to do, but I don't do all that. You get one chance, twice. Other than that, holla. We'll holla at you, Mr. Simmering. Who knows what's going on? If something's personal going on with him, and it's a very serious deal, then I send him strength and power, and I hope he recovers greatly. Things happen, but as I understand, he was supposed to be on there last week, didn't show up, and then this week didn't show up. And who's got time for that? Nobody got time for this. You must not really be running for city council. But again, that's just me talking without any information. He might have Something serious might have happened. And if it did, then, I take it back. Not that I really have anything to take back, but it was real interesting. It's very, very interesting. What was so interesting about last night is that Greg Landsman is the only person running for city council who already won a city council race. He's the only one. He's the only one. And so with that, he brings a certain perspective that nobody else on city council has. He is the only one. And I'm wanting to throw a question out here. I ain't trying to throw no hate on Greg at all, because I like Greg on a personal level. But my question to you is, do you think that voters are going to hold that whole gangified text gate against Greg Landsman? I'm just curious. I mean, it's the elephant in the room. Let's throw it out there. You know me, I put it on the table. You know what I'm saying? I want to get your thoughts about that. Like, is that something when I say Greg Landsman name, do you think Gang of Five? Because there's some people that work real hard to try to make it that way. What was also interesting about last night is that Michelle Dillingham came in 10th place. She came in 10th place by 230 something votes, something real small. So to me, Michelle Dillingham is an example about how every vote matters. Every vote matters. And you can make a strong argument that if she had been on city council, there's some big projects that went down may never have gone down, either never would have happened or would have been a whole different scenario. 230 was 6-7 votes. That's it, y'all. That's it. Very, very interesting. You had two black folks, Mika Owens and Reggie Harris. Again, if you watched it last night, I want to get your thoughts about how you think people performed. Did anybody really show out for you? Were you really impressed by anybody last night? Again, what you think is what really matters the most to me. All right, 513-873-7134. If you like to share your thoughts this morning, I would love to hear them. Let me go straight to the choppers this morning.
Get to the chopper!
Let's go. Joe Rice, good Grand Risings, Nate, and the choppers. Good morning to you. Brandy Rice, greetings. Good morning, Brandy. Anthony Rice, morning, Chop. Good morning to you, Anthony. Jerome writes, good morning, Nate and the choppers. Good morning to you. Andriel writes, morning, Nate and friends. Be careful out there. Yeah, I haven't been outside, but I can hear it's raining. I love this time of year. Fall and spring. Oh, that's when I'm shining. I love that change of weather. I used to be much more of a clothes horse, if you know what that means, than I am today. Now I got other priorities. So fall weather, you can bring the whole wardrobe out. You can wear anything. I love this time of weather, man. Bring the leathers out. You know what I'm saying? Cruther writes, good morning, choppers. Good morning. Maxine writes, grand risings to the righteous seekers. Okay, Maxine, good to see you. Bring that positive energy to the room. I love it. Now, let me speak about the room. I don't know what anybody else is doing on their shows, but here we call it the chop shop. Why? Well, it's got a lot of meanings. Number one, we chop up and break down and analyze the daily issues, whatever is popping, local issues, we do that. Secondly, well, let's just say that I swim with a crew of sharks and they all bite. Now, I'm not trying to turn you off or anything like that or scare you. No reason to be. It's just a chat room. All I would say is, when you come into the room, make sure you peep the environment first before you start making a lot of noise. I'll leave it like that. Fame writes, good morning, folks. Alt Middle is here for you when the others, such as the Alphabet Mafia, isn't there, which is never. So we always here. Alphabet Mafia, is you talking about LGBTQ? Is that what you mean? Alphabet Mafia? Ben writes, the old school intro. Yeah, had to go old school with Jono and Tunes. I still like it. And what I love about it is, just great creative people, man. Shout out to Jono and Tunes. Tunes also did the Straight Talk Live intro for Edna. Super talented, creative folks. Jono, super dope MC. And I told him, listen, man, I'm in Cincinnati. I want something that's going to be branded to the city that I love, the city that I broadcast from. And they knocked it out the park. Tiff writes, good morning, all. Pat writes, good morning. Anthony writes, like and share, fam. Brandy writes, good morning. Happy hump day. Good morning to you. Good morning. Where we at here? Charles writes, grand risings, Nate and the choppers. Good morning to you. Good morning. Natalie writes, morning morning choppers. I'm new to the chop shop. Okay, come on in, Natalie. We got us a newbie here. Okay, somebody show her the ropes. Fame, be on your damn best behavior, man. Okay, come on in here. Beautiful. We leveling up. Every time we get new folks in the chop shop, man, let me know we leveling up. Carmelita writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Happy hump day. Yeah, it is a Wednesday. Damn, this week going fast. TNT writes, good morning. Lemmy writes, good morning. Joe writes, you all did a fantastic job last night. Yeah, I mean, that's the NAACP. That's Lincoln. I did my part. Want to make sure that we put together a really good stream for the people. But I thought it all went well. I thought that we got some really interesting responses from the people that were on the panel. And I'll be honest with you, I thought it was a cut above from the first forum in terms of the responses from the candidates. So should I be straight with you? I thought it was a cut above. It was a step above that. And we really gonna have to make some real decisions about. And see, for me, the way I look at it is I'm looking for a majority. You know, it takes 6 people to have a veto proof. So I'm looking for a block, not just individuals. I'm looking for a block of people who I think can take the ball and run into the future. So Daryl writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Nat writes, good day, Choppers. Good morning to you. Good hump day. Keisha's in the house. She writes, happy hump day. Tabitha writes, good morning. Let's chop it up. Absolutely. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Mighty Choppers. Good morning to you. TNT writes, yes, it was. It was. Really, I thought it was a very strong forum with a lot of really strong candidates. Yeah, I could see a number of those individuals being on city council. And just based upon what I heard last night, I wouldn't be upset about it. But again, I don't do any endorsements. This is a media platform that is open for Democrats, Republicans, black, white, independent. It makes no difference to me. But I don't give endorsements. I will give you a strong opinion, though. If I think somebody's on that bull shizzle, I will tell you. I ain't going to let my people hang like that. I will keep it real with you. 100%. Fame rights voting is one of the few things that should never be done electronically. Too easy to rig. Unfortunately, the current model will need to remain. Module. I think that maybe you're right about that. Gladys writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Careful this morning in the rain. Regina is in the house. She writes, good morning, everyone. TNT writes, learned that she worked for AvTab at the clerk of courts. Who is that? The sister that got killed? Really? Damn, is that right? Damn. But what do you think about the fact that Joe Dieter says self-defense? Is that self-defense? I mean, I want to go to the court of public opinion. I want to know what you think about that. What will you do? Good morning, Nate and Choppers. Nat writes, Reggie, Michelle, and Mika stood out. Anthony writes, just because it looks like you have your life in order doesn't mean that it's all peaches and cream in your world. Correctamundo, Anthony. You're right about that. Like, just because it's being reported that she was an NKU law student don't mean that her mental was where it needed to be and all this kind of stuff. Because like I said, under those, I'm not, let me put it, let me choose my words very, very carefully. As I understand the scenario that led to this woman's death, I couldn't see myself doing that. Like if I get into an altercation with somebody at a youth football game, when I leave, it's pretty much, I'm not going to your house at 2:30 in the morning, especially without a weapon. It just ain't gonna happen. So it just makes you wonder what the mind state was. Like, what was so important that you had to go to somebody's house at 2:30 in the morning, banging on their door, causing a threat kind of situation like that? I don't know. But again, I want to know, like, what would you do? Same scenario. And I want you to put yourself in that scenario and be honest with me. We just being honest here. It's just talk. It's just talk. You know, no opinion is wrong. Every opinion is value. They say talk is cheap except on the Nathan Ivey show. On the Nathan Ivey show, it's very valuable. So talk to me this morning and tell me what you think. At 513-873-7134. Talk to me this morning. Tell me what you think. What would you do? Same scenario as I read to you. Let me run through this again for people who are just tuning in. We're talking about a scenario of a woman named Sierra Allen, 30 years old. It was revealed yesterday that there'll be no charges filed in her shooting death. Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters announced this just yesterday. You coming in to say hello?
Hello.
Why are you looking all sad?
I lost my little Miles Morales.
You didn't lose Miles. You lost Miles Morales. What do you think is that?
I remember I was trying to go in the bathroom and then Kendall turned me around.
Do you think it's upstairs? Okay. Well, I'll look for it for you. Say good morning, man. We'll find it.
Good morning.
Get that brush. Give it to your mother. That brush right there. Would you see that brush right there, boy? That brush. Yes. Children these days, 6. Now, how you gonna brush your hair with that on? Take that off. This boy. Yeah, he gonna do the edges. Kids these days, man. Put your shoes on. Your mother will brush your hair before you roll out. Kids these days, 6-year-olds. That's all I say, man. He's 6. Let's see. So talk to me. No. Come here. Come here. I got it. Give me the brush. Hold on one second. Man, you didn't brush your hair. Give me 1 second. I got daddy duty to take care of real quick. Hold on 1 second. What am I looking for? We got time. Yeah, we're gonna cut you.
Kendall's gonna be late.
Yeah, we don't want that. I got a message yesterday too.
She was late.
What'd you say? All right, man. Turn this out. Okay, I got you though.
Do it softly.
Ain't no softly. Go ahead. I love you. Give me a hug. Have a good day. All right, see you later. Okay, see you later. I had to brush his hair. All right, there it is. Sorry, it's a family show. Gotta do what I gotta do. Anyway, so talk to me. Tell me what you do. Put yourself in that scenario as we unpack this conversation. You get into an altercation at a youth football event or youth event, and then you get a knock on your door that evening, let's say 2:30 in the morning. It's the same person you got into an altercation with. And maybe they screaming and yelling and cussing and fussing and threatening and all. Come outside. I told you I was going to do this. And I told you who you think you is. You know, some black folks love to talk about what I told you and what you better not do. And I wish you would, right? Some black folks love, I wish you would. Okay. So now you show up, you got a weapon on you. What do you do? What do you do? And I'll be honest with you. I ask myself this question. If it's me, see you later, love. If it's me, I'm not answering the door. You outside. I'm going to leave you outside. You outside. You knock on the door. Okay. You cause any damage, we'll get you. We'll get that money back. You know what I'm saying? But what would you do in that scenario? That's what I want to know. I want to know what you would do. Well, in this scenario, Joe Dieter says that the woman got her weapon, her firearm, opened the door. He says that Sierra Allen lunged. That's one thing to be outside, somebody knocking to you just talking ish, but you gonna lunge inside my home? What? Okay. What would you do? I want to know. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's Carmelita.
Hey, Carmelita. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, to show up at somebody's house, you already got to be kind of ballsy because you don't know what somebody has in their home. Second, after you make that distinction to show up at somebody's house, you should come prepared because I assume most people have a gun in their house at this point. That would be my assumption. Most people have a gun in their house. So if you go to somebody's house, you should definitely come prepared because you don't know what you're walking into. Why would you do that anyway? But I mean, not saying, you know, I'm saying if that's the route you decide to take, then you get what you get when you get to somebody's house.
Okay.
Period.
So self-defense. You agree with Joe Dieters. It seems like self-defense to you.
110%. Don't come to my house looking for a fight. Because if it's ever me or you, it's always gonna be you.
Okay. All right.
If you come to my house.
No. Okay. All right. Carmelita, thanks for the call.
No problem.
Appreciate it. She said, don't come to my house. Is that where the story ends? If somebody comes to your house, same scenario, 2:30 in the morning, you got into an altercation with them earlier in the day, they outside talking and cussing and fussing and threatening. Do you open the door? I mean, we on that stand your ground situation in Ohio now. You tell me. You tell me. What would you do? Anthony writes, not out of the usual. I sometimes have my EDC on my side in the house. Is that right? Charles writes, never ever go to someone's house looking for a fight. Brittany Dean writes, good morning, choppers. Oh, wow. I went to NKU. That's crazy. But if this is true and you come to someone's property on some mess, run up, you get done up, sad, man. Okay, so I was going to add some different scenarios, but I don't want to muddy the waters too much. Let's just deal with the situation as it is. Let's keep it on that. Keisha writes, we only have one side of the story. How do we know that it's true? Keisha, you're so right about that. Like, my question was, I want to know the race of the shooter. I'm curious. I'll be honest with you. I'm curious as to whether it's a white person or a black person. I'll be honest with you. I'm curious as to what evidence they have that Sierra Allen actually lunged. You know, you got the Dexter types out there and the forensic specialists, and they know the body positioning and all this kind of stuff. A lot of people have these closed circuit cameras, these Wi-Fi cameras on their porch and inside their home, so they could have caught it up there. But I'm just curious as to the evidence that they have that the woman lunged at her, because to me, I think that's what makes the difference. Like, if somebody shows up at your door and they on your porch and they stay outside and they talking ish and that's it, do you have a right to shoot them? I think it's different there. But if somebody shows up at your door and they try to lunge and get inside your house, well, now I got a right to defend myself. I've got no place else to retreat. Does anybody feel like she never should have opened the door? Like, you know, I don't know all the laws on this, but, you know, again, I keep asking myself, if that's me, what do I do? And I'll be honest with you, I don't even open the door, because once I open the door to a whole world of other things. I don't want to have to kill one of God's creatures. I will, but I don't want to have to do that, right? So once you open that door, you're almost like, you're not inviting it, but you're giving it an audience. You know what I'm saying? What's the moral of the story? What would you do in this situation? You tell me. Talk to me. 513-873-7134. TNT writes, she had no business over there. I hate it, though. The woman could have called the police and not opened the door, but she have a right to open her door, too. Right. Tiffany writes, good to see you, Tiffany. She writes, if somebody shows up at my house at 2:30 a.m. after an altercation, I'm probably shooting. Yeah, because think about it. You get into it. So let me put myself in the shooter's role. I get into it with another man. Let's say we playing b-ball. We get into it. The thing about this is that these two women knew each other. You read the word friends. So they used to be friends. So would you look at it differently if it's somebody that you used to be friends with as opposed to a perfect stranger? On some levels, yeah, I kind of would. It depends on the level of our relationship. So we used to be cool. We used to be friends. Now we're not friends no more. We get into it earlier in the day, and then you show up at my house. If you show up at my house, I can only assume that you're trying to do great bodily harm to me. You're trying to harm me. You're trying to do something to me. I mean, what else am I supposed to assume? If you wanted to talk about it, you could have sent me a phone call. You know, you could have texted me. You could have hit me with that Duo, with the Android phone, something like that. We could have talked it out. You could have hit me up on Instagram or something like that. So for you to show up at my house, I'm going to assume you're coming here to form Voltron. Oh, really? You're going to form Voltron where I pay the bills at? Hell no, I'm a form Voltron. So I get that. I think that's a very human thing right there. So again, I'm talking about it because I don't trust Joe Dieters. I wouldn't trust Joe Dieters to make me a pot of tea. I wouldn't trust Joe Dieters to tie my shoes for me while I'm standing there with my shoes on. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't trust Joe Dieters to go on my porch and get the mail at the mailbox. I don't trust him at all. And I have a real issue with his history and his judgment and some of the decisions he's done. It's his fault, not my fault. Or maybe it's my fault because I don't understand. Maybe that's what it is. I don't have a law degree, right? And all this kind of stuff. But in this case, I want to talk it out with you. Sounds like a lot of people feel like, hey, it went down the way it's supposed to go down. Fame writes, those circumstances around the shooting around the NKU students are so flimsy that I don't trust this no charges so soon. Why open the door at 2:30 a.m. if you were so scared? Stop right there. I thought the same exact thing. I thought the same thing. I saw the first thing I thought when I read this story was, I want to know the race of the woman that pulled the trigger. And then two, if you're so afraid, why you open the door? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get a knock on your door and you look outside and it's Dracula, are you going to open the door? Hell no, it's Dracula out there. I'm not opening the door. It's Blackula. I'm not opening the door for Blackula. Black Dracula. I'm not doing that. So again, I understand. I feel you on that. It's like, if you so afraid, why you put yourself in harm's way? You know what I'm saying? Like, just leave the door shut. Call the boys. Hey, you know, this woman outside, she knocking on my door. She put her hands on me earlier in the day. I got my weapon. If she come in this house, I'm going to blast her ass. Okay. What would have happened? The boys would have been there, right? They probably would have arrested her. That's it. That's it. Do you feel like in a scenario like this, if you're at home and somebody knocks on your door, do you think that homeowners should have a duty to retreat? That they should have a duty to not open the door if you feel like there's a physical altercation? And I say this because I'm thinking about the human element, like life. Like, for all my people out there, because I know the choppers, man, y'all don't play no games. Like I said, I hear you. Somebody do that to you, you going to blast their ass. I get you. But let's back away from that for a second. In a situation like that, should private citizens have a duty to retreat, to not open the door? You already know the person out there is on some dumbish. You got a weapon. So for the sake of preserving human life, right? No matter what the rules might be right now, we know what the rules are. I'm speaking hypothetically, right? You know, it's a talk show, so sometimes we do that. Should homeowners have a duty to retreat in a situation like that? Why open? You so afraid, why open the door? Think about it. Why approach your door with a gun? You looking for trouble. The decedent must have sent threatening messages throughout the day, perhaps. Luddy writes, right, this is foul. I own a gun. You can't kill an unarmed person. And that's the other thing. So somebody lunges at you. See, this is such a slippery slope right here. This is a little bit of a slippery slope and a little bit potentially dangerous. Because as I understand it, I haven't read anything that suggests that Sierra Allen had a weapon. She just had these. And so you shoot this person. Again, I'm not in any way picking sides here. I'm approaching it from every angle, you know, for the sake of the conversation, right? So I don't want nobody that's related to or connected to the story to think I'm on Sierra Allen's side, although she is the decedent. She did lose her life. I just want to have a conversation, so I'm approaching it from different angles. Hopefully you understand my spirit. But this woman don't even have a weapon on her. And so my thing is, so we can do that now? I guess so. You know, let's say you walking downtown Cincinnati and you bump into a dude and it leads into some type of confrontation. And dude lunge at you with his hands. And I got my concealed carry weapon on me. I can pop his ass and just that's all right. If that's what the rules are, okay. I know they've eliminated the duty to retreat even outside the home. In this case, it was inside the home. But again, whatever the case may be, no charges will be filed in the shooting death of 30-year-old Sierra Allen. It's very, very, very sad. Sheila writes, good morning, Nate and Mrs. Ivey. Oh, good morning to you. Anthony writes, some people are the mindset, you came looking for smoke, I'm going to give it to you. That's very true. Very, very true. Daryl writes, that's the reason for a camera doorbell. I don't answer the door at 2:30 in the afternoon without prior notice. Man, listen, I don't answer the door either. We don't really answer the door during COVID. There's been a few people that knocked on the door. The last person knocked on my door, it was about, y'all might think I'm bad about this, but just I'm going to be honest with you. Last person knock on my door, it was late at night. It was about 1:30 in the morning. I just happened to be up. I hear a knock on the door. Spider sense goes off. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Who knocking on my door at 1:30 in the morning? All my peoples know better than do something like that. Or if they do, it's an emergency. So I'm thinking, damn, either it's an emergency from one of my peoples or it's some dumb ish. Okay. I look outside the curtain, door stay locked. It's a young woman, young black woman, looking like she just ran through hell. And I don't know what she said. I think she was on drugs or something. I'm like, nah, sis, we don't want it. And she just walked away. It was the craziest thing in the world. I'm like, what? Who's knocking on strange people's doors at 1:30 in the morning, looking like they just ran through, like, they ran through the set of like Tales of the Dead or something, Tales from the Crypt or something like that. It was just not a good look. It was not a good look. Sis walked away. I'm like, what was that all about? You never know, man. You never know these days. Let me go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate and the Choppers.
Hey, what's up, Forte? Good morning, brother.
Hey, I'm hanging in there, man. You on one of my topics. Let's do it from stand your ground perspective, okay? You know, we debated when this stand your ground came in that we would run the cases like this. Humanity-wise, I agree with you. Don't open the door, call the boys. You know, but understand your ground. She didn't have a duty. The person who pulled the trigger did not have a duty to retreat. They, you know, it used to be you had to be in your house and they had to breach the door. Well, stand your ground. We could meet anywhere, like the scenario downtown. You bump somebody, they get in their feelings, they articulate, they fear for their life, and they shoot you. Humanity is not the thing here, it's the law. And I'm going to say this about Joe Dieters. He interpreted it that way. Another prosecutor in another county might have said, you should have stayed in the house, you was in no danger. So it's the practice of law like it's the practice of medicine. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Makes perfect sense.
He has the power in this county. That's the way that he's going to play the game. I would tell you the odds is astronomical that this was, I hate this terminology, but this was two black people. Because Pee Wee League football is usually we play our team, they play their team. And I done seen serious emotions at Pee Wee League football. You know, I used to work those details. I quit working them. It was out of control. You know, treat little boys like they the freaking Bengals in Pittsburgh. You know, and when something goes wrong, a bad call, it just gets crazy, man. I mean, it's a heartbreaking situation here. You know, but let's go back to old Cumbersville rules, man. You don't come to nobody's house. If you're a sound man in body, you don't go to anybody's home that you got a confrontation with. So, like I said, I can't go. The history of these people, I don't know it. I'm humane enough. I told you, I won't even go on the first floor now. I'm just that mature. You on the first floor in my house breaching, I'm on the second floor on to the teeth, I'm calling the boy. If I come downstairs, I'm going to put you down. If you come upstairs, I'm going to put you down. If I happen to be downstairs and you breach, I'm going to put you down. But this scenario, it appears this person opened the door. They had whatever verbal they had. This person articulated she tried to push her way in, and they shot her. So I don't know. On a physical tip, was she so much superior to the other woman that the woman needed a weapon? You know, I mean, it's a lot of scenarios here that we don't know. Have this woman beat me up 5 or 6 times in her life? And on this day, you know, she did the ultimate. She came into the spider web. So, you know, it's very complicated with the limited information that we have, but it's a stand your ground scenario. You no longer have a duty to retreat in Ohio. All right. It's no longer, hey, you at home, go in the house, call the boys. She opened the door. In my opinion, that was a bad move. She took another human life. And I prosecute here and articulate it. No harm, no foul. So it's no other way to deal with it, you know, unless a lot more facts come out. So, yeah, we vulnerable now. Step on somebody's foot, they get in their feelings, they stand their ground. Trayvon and Zimmerman, don't ever forget that scenario. State of Florida, you know, they went medieval. They protected Zimmerman. And, you know, this is what we're going to see a lot of. It's the first one in Ohio that got this much publicity that I'm aware of. And I just taught a class, and they talked about that in the class before Joe even came out with what he just came out with. You know, and I was saying your home is your castle. Without stand your ground laws, you don't have to go in the house anymore. So I'll leave it at that unless you got a question for me.
I don't have a question that comes to mind right now. I mean, you know, like I'm of the same mind as you. It's like I'm not opening the door because once I do, anything can happen. And, you know, somebody put a question in here like, well, if you're so afraid, why open the door? Just keep the door shut. Call the boys.
And that's why I think it was a personal thing between them. And I think that the one who's deceased was a superior person in whatever confrontations they had in the past. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, this is that time that, you know, hey, I'm not running in my own house. You came over here, I'm gonna give you some. Now, I don't know what the mental capacity of the person who pulled the trigger is right now. You know, you took a human life over some altercation. But at the same time, man, we go into medieval days. Those laws are designed to protect white people when they kill black people. I'll stand by that. And when black people kill black people, it's a 50-50 chance if you're going to get the Joe Dieters attitude or you're going to get some attorney going to say, no, that's ridiculous. You should have kept the door closed. I'm going to charge you and make the jury figure it out. That's how simple this is.
Brother Forte,
he could have charged her. Yes,
I'm sorry,
sir.
go ahead, brother.
Take it easy. Yeah, he could have charged if he wanted to. And then, you know, a grand jury and then a jury of this person's peers could have figured this out. You know. But I don't think it's ever going to happen that a black person going to step outside and shoot a white person and there won't be charges. That's my humble opinion. I think we'd have been listening to that scenario. Call the police. You're safe. Lock your door. If they come in, we understand. But you opened the door and they came in, allegedly, you know, pushed her in the doorway or whatever. So, you know, it's a sad day for the home team, man. I expect to see a lot more of this. And I don't expect them all to end the way that this one ended with no charges. Ultimate power goes to the, in this case, the district attorney of Hamilton County. And it's 87 other counties. They might have handled it different ways. So that's where we at.
All right, brother. Thank you for the call.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, most deaf. That's Brother Forte. And again, he is a member of law enforcement. So I take what he has to say about these matters with a lot of reverence, a lot of respect, because he's been there, done that. He said people be getting crazy at these Pee-wee football games. Yeah, my little brother's son, so my nephew played Pee-wee football. I went to a few games, and people do get, and it be the men. It be these fathers, man, with these broken gridiron dreams. Like, I played running back in high school. I could have been the next Barry Sanders, but then I got caught with weed and all this kind of dumb stuff. So now they want to live vicariously to their kids. And they put way too much masculine energy into something that don't really need to be there. You know, my son plays basketball now, and you know, That's potentially a real dangerous situation there, because you got all these fathers sitting out there. You got your boy out there. The boys get into it. Depending on the temperament of the men could get into it. The fathers could get into it real quick, because people got the wrong attitude. Your boy did this. They kids out there. They gonna do what kids do on their level, but I don't foresee myself getting into it with another man over something that happens on a damn pee-wee football or pee-wee basketball or soccer. I mean, they all learning the sport. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be exercise and fun, but I've seen that before. People get all that, blow the whistle, ref. I ain't getting that into no damn pee-wee football. That ain't fair. That was a first down and all this kind of stuff. Man, if you don't go sit your ass down, the ball bigger than half the bodies of the kids out here. You out here arguing calls with the ref. Man, save all that. You had your shot in high school. You blew it. If you that much into football, join one of these little flag football leagues in Cincinnati or something like that and do that with some grown men. But I've seen it before. Blow the call. Go make the call, ref. Make the call. Oh, you cheating. Or the ref is cheating for the pee-wee football team. If you don't go sit your ass down, nobody cares about this. This is exercise and fun. My boy gonna be the next. He gonna be the next Steve Smith and all. Okay, Brian Gary's in there. That's right. Instead of answering the door with a gun, could she have called the police and said, "What's up, Brian?" He's a Cincinnati City Council candidate. He was on the forum last night. Since he's here, we've been an hour into the conversation. Let's add that to the. We can talk about whatever. You still want to talk about, the situation, what happened with this young woman, 30 years old. I think that Forte's his spider sense is very interesting. He said he probably had history. The woman that got shot probably was more physically intimidating than the woman that pulled the trigger. Maybe she got the best of her a couple times. She said enough is enough. Enough is enough. He said himself, listen, I'm not even going to the first floor. I'm gonna be on the second floor because I don't want to have to do this to you. And that's my attitude. I don't want to kill any God's creatures. That's not what God didn't put me on this plane to take out his creatures. He can do all that. And so I'd rather not, unless I'm pushed to that position. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Who am I speaking with?
This is Dollars and Cents, Reggie. Back in the days, man. I'm glad to hear you again, bro. See you on Facebook, man.
Oh, for sure, man. What's up, Dollars? Welcome.
So, man, I have a concealed weapons permit, and I'll be honest with you. When I first got it, I was like, man, I need to protect myself. 2016, but I found that, bro, it is so many rules and regulations to where I could take it, and you can't even have a damn a sip of cough syrup without worrying about getting stopped as it is being black and then having a concealed weapon. So I usually leave my gun at home, but here's my thoughts. Regardless of back in the days, your house is your sanctity, right? I mean, and you, besides your car, but if you feel that, if you don't feel that you can be safe at your own house, then where can you feel like you really can be safe at? And regardless, if somebody comes to my house and we've had problems, then I'm going to expect a confrontation. And there's absolutely no way for me to possibly know if the other person has a weapon or not. We don't know. You don't know. So I just assume, one, you come into my house to do me bodily harm. Maybe you've done me harm before or you threatened me. And two, I'm assuming that maybe you got somebody in the back outside with you. And I'm assuming that, you may have a weapon on you. So regardless if I open the door or not, it is my house. My house, you come into my house at 2 a.m, not 2 p.m, 2 a.m. That means you looking for trouble. And regardless, I'm going to give it to you. Now I'm sure I may have a personal beef with you or whatever, but it is my opportunity. And we are creatures of opportunity. Homegirl took the opportunity, unfortunately, to maybe carry it a little bit too far, but that's what she did. The other thing, I'm tired of people. I questioned my friends. They were like, well, we need to worry about black on black crime. I said, well, why don't they call it white on white crime when white kids shoot up these schools? And they didn't have anything to say to me. I said, well, the statistics show that most people commit crime with their own people. So there's Asian on Asian crime, Mexican on Mexican crime, white on white crime. That's where it happens. So you just commit the crime that you live in vicinity of. So to me, actually, I applaud the decision because one, that's what would happen with if two white people came, and one white person rolled up on somebody, chances are the other person wouldn't go to jail and get prosecuted. So I'm actually glad. And the other thing is, I know we talked about, and I'll let you go, is that, well, this is a white and black thing. True, but I very rarely have I seen white people come to somebody's house at 2 a.m, especially come to a black person's house at 2 a.m, looking for some beef over a hockey match or a soccer game. So, we got to kind of take it as it is. And I think it's a good thing that, these two black women, unfortunately, one passed away, but, he didn't he didn't charge her because he's like, yo, this is what normal stuff happens. And there's a cause and effect. Because you came to this lady's house and this is what happened, I am not going, it's too hard for me to sort it out. So I think we should be happy that, hey, these laws were put in effect and two black people got, because we could have affected two black people. The lady that would pass away and then he could have charged the other lady. Then she has to pay all these fees and get defense, things like that. So I think it's good, that it happened that way. Unfortunately, I hope we all learn from that. And I'm glad you're doing well, my brother, man. You are an inspiration to me. And I appreciate everything, bro. Have a good one.
All right, take it easy, dollars. That's dollars and cents. Appreciate the call. The only thing I would be careful of is saying like, oh, I never hear white people committing these kind of crimes. I mean, I've heard it all. Everybody's doing everything. Everybody, black people, white people, everybody's doing everything. In my opinion, I don't really see a distinction between the types of crimes. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's doing everything. I don't have a scenario top of mind locally of a white person going to somebody's house and doing that. I don't have one of those, but I bet if I look for it, I can find it real quick. Everybody's committing every kind of crime. And that's what I see. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. Joseph writes, whatever happened or was in her mind, 2:30 a.m. wasn't a time for it. Too bad that happened to her. Totally preventable. Yeah, the 2:30 a.m. makes a difference because typically people are sleeping and we look at that as like, somebody showing at your house, they really got a problem with you, but it could have been 2:30 p.m. in the day. And I don't think that Joe Dieters would look at it any differently. And I don't think that Joe Dieters, I don't know, I can't speak about his mindset. All I'll say is that while he's the prosecutor, I question everything that comes out the man's mouth. Now, if that's fair in your mind, I don't know. In my mind, it makes perfect sense. I just don't trust the man. I don't know what the hell he's going to do. I don't know what justice is under Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters' time in office. I literally have no idea, and I'm searching for understanding. Aaliyah writes, I wonder if there is some baby daddy stuff going on. Got something to do with a man. Something had her raging. Just a thought, right? Could be. That'd be sad. Back to the phones we go. Good morning and welcome.
Hey, talk show host, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, caller. Welcome.
Good. Y'all need to take a chill pill and pump the brakes.
Uh-oh.
Y'all up here talking about first of all, I'm a youth referee. I see the stuff. But y'all talking about how the parents are acting. I mean, what my brother just say? White folks don't go confront each other over hockey games and whatnot. Shit. They kill each other. The Texas cheerleading massacres was a damn mini-series. That woman was killing the cheerleader to make the team. That was a true story. So let's not try to act like this is only be black people be doing this now. Let's not, that have trouble with youth games. Now, yeah, some of the behavior is very despicable, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I do 6 games on a Saturday, I can guarantee you I'll get called a BAN in all 6 of them by somebody's dad. They're going to call it a holding or something like that. But at the same time, but at the same time, Tracy Dillingham knows, that's what my the YouTube thing idea was, about summer sports and, the emotions and costs of it. You kick out $6,000 for your kid to play sports in the summer, you want to see them do well. And when they do well, you're going to be happy. Remember I had talked to you about that, talk to you about, hey, your son in AAU basketball, this is what you got to expect. to kick out $5-6 a summer just to participate. And that's before, to participate, getting, get the proper equipment, because you're going to get in some sleeves, the top sneakers, all that stuff, compression pants, all that kind of stuff, to get them all that kind of stuff to play. And people are doing it at 10 and 12 years old. Let's not try to act like this is foreign, because sports is business. Quit kidding yourself thinking it's just neighborhood versus neighborhood. That stops at middle school. Once you enter high school, sports is business. Everybody's trying to get to the next level, kids and coaches. So, if you think otherwise, your naivete tells me that this conversation is out of your pay grade. So stay out of it. Okay? Parents paying that kind of money, they want to see their kids excel. And when they do, they're overjoyed. Who's going to root for my child more louder and harder than me? Why should I expect you to do it? I kicked up that money. I see my investment coming to fruition. I see a yield coming from my investment. I am excited. To hell with you and how you think, just because your kid out there middling. I tell my son, bases loaded. I did that for baseball for him. Bases loaded. We don't take a fastball for a strike with bases loaded. He did that once. Came right across his waist. And then then he swung at one of the dirt for strike 2. I was livid. I have a right to be mad about that. Like I've been training you to swing a bat since you were 10 years old. You're 16 now. How dare you do something like that? I was pissed. Don't get calling nobody names or nothing, but I'm seeing money go down the drain. Now, as far as this girl, the shooter, the shooting thing, the NKU student, like I said last week, girl just made a tragic decision that cost her. Because if this happened at a youth game, that means it probably, or a youth event, that means it probably happened sometime in the afternoon or early morning. Most youth sports are done. It's a 9 to 5. It's 8 hours. It's going to be however many games. You're going to be out of there in 8 hours, and that means this was sitting on this girl's heart for 12 hours for her to go over this woman's house at 2:30 in the morning, at least, or around 12 hours. And then you go over this woman's house. My thing is, where I'm reading all these comments and I'm seeing a lack of respect for humanity. We don't even have humanity anymore in the chop shop. Everybody's, you come to my elbow. Everybody just wants to kill somebody. At 2:30 in the morning, okay, I'm a little disturbed. I don't know what you want. We had beef earlier. I'm calling the boys and let them deal with you. That's just me, though. But then there might have been, I'm not judging these girls, these women. I'm sorry, I'm not judging them. Whatever happened. But I'm just reading the lack of humanity, and it's very disturbing. Everybody just wants to kill somebody. Everybody's just happy they got they CCWs and bought pistols and rifles and whatnot, and just talking about laying somebody. Everybody wants to be damn Rambo now for sudden. Calm the hell down. Don't lose regard for humanity while you're buying firearms. If you can avoid taking a life, do it. This could have been avoided by both of them. And yes, the decedent is the main culprit. But let's not just cheer the shooter on, or even act like she's done anything savory. You could have made some different decisions too, hon. And that's all I got, B. It's been real. I had fun.
Appreciate it. Leveling up. I agree with him. He said a lack of humanity in the chop shop. Could be. I did read some of those comments. Like I said, I put myself in that scenario. I'm not opening the door. I'm going to let you stay outside because I don't want to have to put you down. I don't want that on my soul. Okay? Especially if we used to be cool or whatever. Now we ain't cool so much no more. I ain't really effing with you like that. You don't really like me or whatever. We got into it. It is what it is. It's over. Why would I open the door? Once I open the door, you become more of a threat. Now I got to do something to you. She can't lunge through the door if the door is locked. Call the boys. Tell her, like, I'm about to call the boys. She probably would have got in her car and ran away before the boys got there. Everybody goes away. You call the boys, you file a police report, the police will pick her up. Now she got to deal with Hamilton County courts. Now she got to deal with Joe Dieters and his minions, the prosecutors, on a different level. It's over with. It's over with. But you know what? The way it went down is the way it went down. What do you think? 513-873-7134. Lots of comments coming in. Lewis writes, hey, brother Nathan. What's up, Lewis? Nicole writes, Avtab was almost about to tear up on stage talking about the law student. I will say again, let's keep the conversation right here and stay here with it, because a lot of people want to talk about this. Then we'll talk about some of the stuff that happened politically last night. You had two big forums. The NAACP Prince Hall Masons had their Cincinnati City Council Candidates Forum. They had scheduled to have 6, but had 5. And then at the same time, the folks over at the Inquirer and WVXU and Xavier had the mayoral forum. And it was interesting, man. The gloves came off a little bit. And what I will say is that, you know, to David Mann, you know, what I would want to hear is more about what your plans are and less about what you think the other person isn't doing. The same thing happened with Bruce Hoffbauer and Charmaine McGuffey. Remember this? Now, Bruce Hoffbauer, in my opinion, was not qualified to be the Hamilton County Sheriff. You know, he disqualified himself when he killed that unarmed black man and got away with it back in the 90s. He was disqualified from that point. But throughout that whole campaign, instead of talking and focusing on what he was going to do, he was always pointing fingers and shooting darts. I'm like, that ain't appealing to me. Tell me what you're going to do. Okay. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what your plans are. And what I heard a lot from David Mann last night was a whole lot of pointing fingers at the AvTab. And again, it's not that AvTab or anybody is above reproach or can't be critiqued. Shit, when it's necessary, bring it out. But I want to hear more about what you're going to bring to the table more than anything else. Jason writes, did she kick the door in? No, Jason, as I understand it, that she did not kick the door in. Good morning to you, brother. Great to see you. The woman whose house it was, she opened the door to greet her. And then Joe Dieter says, allegedly, not allegedly, but in his opinion, Sierra Allen lunged at the woman, meaning lunged into her home. So does that mean that her body was found inside the home? You know, they got a lot of forensic specialists and people that know all the science of this kind of stuff. They can figure all this out. Let me see. Young Nate. Yeah. Oh, my son was here. Iris writes, I think Mika Owens did very well. She has plans, knew specifics about issues, understanding of city council was clear, has done previous community work. I agree. She did stand out. I think she did not do bad for herself at all. I thought that Reggie Harris didn't do bad for himself. Who else was there? I thought Michelle Dillingham didn't do bad for herself. You know, I thought, as I sat there listening, I thought, I'd love to see some of these folks on council, see what they do. I love a mofo that's got backbone. Love it. Give me a human being with some backbone, ain't afraid to speak their mind. I loves it. It's a beautiful thing. We need more of that on council. We need more of that. Tiffany writes, I'm doing the same thing. What's to say if she didn't open the door this time? Maybe she would be waiting for her in the bushes at 6 a.m. or show up at her job. Well, Tiffany, that's a different scenario. You know, that's different, you know, but I asked myself, what would I do? I already know what I would do. I wouldn't open the door. I wouldn't open the door. Why would I open the door and invite trouble into my house? Doesn't make any sense. I'm going to leave you outside. Call 911. That was more than 3 digits. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. It was like 6 numbers. And then let the boys handle it. Now, I got my weapon on me and I'm going to my car and you jumping out of bushes. That's a whole different scenario that we can deal with if that happens. But in this scenario, I'm not opening the door. Why? I don't want to have to kill one of God's creatures. I don't want to have to do that. And if I open the door, it's more likely that that's going to happen if I got my weapon on me. That's just me. So my question is, regardless of what the laws are now, what should it be? Should you have a duty to retreat? I guess retreat in this scenario would be don't open the door. Does that mean that if you do open the door and you kill somebody, you should be charged? That's a tough one. That's a real tough one right there. Anthony writes, did he remember his pants? No, yes, he did. TNT writes, oh, love the crocodile hat. I got Black Panther costume mask for him. I have to mail it to you. Oh, he's going to love that. He's going to love it. Sister Iris writes, Brian Gary, his answer of my whole plan is the black agenda, but I didn't hear the agenda, but he has been around and knows about some things. Yeah, that's a question that's really interesting. That whole black agenda question. And again, make no mistake about it. Danita called in yesterday and she said some things I still agree with, but make no mistake about it. When I asked that question for me is designed. I'm looking at a lot of different things. I'm looking at a lot. When I ask somebody, do you have a black agenda? Number one, I already know because I've been to your website and I've read everything that you've ever put out there. I've seen all your forums, all through your social media. So I already know what the answer is. But it's the answer and the way that people answer that is so interesting for smart people. And this room is nothing but smart people. Smart people can read between the lines. You can put things together. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very, very, you're right. I do remember how Brian answered that question. I think he also had the benefit of, he was on my show, 2 days ago, and I kind of ran through some of these similar issues. How do I feel about Brian Gary? I like Brian Gary on a personal level. I like him. He's been around for a long time. It's interesting that, I don't know. Let me spend some more time before I speak on it because every word matters. Lemmy writes, call the police. Right, I would have called the police. Sinclair writes, unfortunately, she went to the wrong person's house and lost her life. It's a sad situation all around the board. Absolutely. Sister Iris writes, Reggie Harris, I like his knowledge around the housing issues, but what will it take to balance things out? Good grasp on Cincinnati issues like him. Yeah, I don't think he did bad for himself at all. During last night's forum, I heard these two ladies were friends at one time. It's a shame, right? How you go from friends to killing somebody? Now, I've had friends that we was friends and then we fall out or they say some dumb ish. You don't want to be around them or whatever. But to the point where that's just a really sad situation, man. I wonder if drugs was involved because people get start to smoking that weed and drinking that alcohol, that liquor. They get all empowered and do dumbish. Kick in my door, must shoot you. Yeah, but she did not kick the door in. The door opened for her. Ryan writes, I'm pulling out the Draco. TNT writes, Badishi, who speaks for the dead? Right. Angela writes, I'm protecting my home, period. I feel you. I feel you on all of this. I still say, if it's me, here's my question for you. Same scenario. Do you open the door? If you're just tuning in, you don't know the scenario. Let me back it up for you. As a matter of fact, let me put this link inside the Chop Shop so you can check it out for yourself and you can read what I'm reading. And that way, you know what's going on. I'm put it on all platforms so you can check it out for yourself and read for yourself if you're interested. Okay. So my question for you is this. Same scenario. During the day, you're at a youth event. You get into it with somebody, y'all used to be friends. Y'all even get physical. Y'all start scuffling or something like this, right? You leave. It's 2:30 in the morning. Who's that? You do the Russell Westbrook face. Who at my door? You hear all this cussing and fussing. It's the same person that used to be your friend. Y'all got into it. Y'all put hands on one another. Do you open the door? You got your weapon. Do you open the door? 513-873-7134. In this scenario, the woman, the homeowner, opened the door and bad things happen. But my question is, do you open the door? For me, I don't even open the door. I ain't got time for that. You're outside. I'm gonna let you stay outside. Now, if you crawling through windows and breaking down doors, things happen. But if you outside, you comfortably outside, you safely outside, well, I don't need to, what I need to do. What do you think? Again, tell me what you think. Ballhead's in the morning. Hey, good to see you, Ballhead. Been a minute, man. Good to see you. Regina writes, if we find out that this is the actual truth because I don't trust what Dieter says, I would have shot her also. That's self-defense. But Regina, would you have opened the door? See, that's where it starts. I'm not opening the door. Would you? And again, there's no right or wrong. I'm not trying to beat you over the head and say you're less moral than I am, because God knows that ain't true. I'm just asking a simple question. Anthony writes, his decision is mostly likely based on the castle doctrine. If so, Joe is correct, I think. Is if she could have gone another route by not opening the door. Once you attempt to harm me in my home, it's on. Aaliyah writes, call the police and go back to bed, right? Lemmy writes, protocol, call police, and then if they kick you in my door, shoot. Absolutely. Angela writes, I'm going to open my door like, what the hell, after I done already called the police. Lynn writes, good morning, great people. Good to see you. Sister Iris writes, Greg Landsman, Gang of Five stuff isn't an issue for me. He's been working on issues. Some proven results have helped in all efforts of collaborative work. Preschool Promise, working to bring back CCY. Yeah, I tend to agree. I had a conversation with somebody a little while ago about that, and they seem to believe that this whole Gang of Five stuff was really going to have an impact on Greg Landsman. I don't really think so. I don't think it was really that big a deal from day one. I think it was more politically motivated. And then I think since then, even before then, people are going to judge you by the quality of the work that you do and how you represent yourself. That's just my opinion of it. But I'm just curious. He is the only person running for city council who's already run for city council successfully, right? And is currently an incumbent. And really, that's not true. Actually, I take that back, because Kevin Flynn is on city council. He ran successfully. So let me put it this way. Greg Landsman is the only incumbent, right, who's already won a seat. That's a better way to put it, because Kevin Flynn is running. Jim Tarbell, who's got a terrible website, is running. There's nothing on his website whatsoever. Kevin Flynn, you should work on your website as well. If you don't know, I'm reviewing websites and social media presences, the presence of all the people who are running, all the political candidates, school board, mayor, city council. We kicked it off yesterday. If you missed it, go back and check that out. And I'll be doing it more throughout this week and next week as well. So I do it as a resource for the community. Maxine writes, so what exactly happened at the game? Don't know. Sister Iris writes, also, GL moved $1 million from the police budget for youth jobs. Now it's a standing item in the budget. Ryan writes, she never should have showed up to another person's house at 2:30 a.m. Ben Thomas writes, exactly, Nate. That was at somewhere around 7. Not sure what I was saying. Tabitha writes, when the story don't sound right, something ain't right. You're right about that. TNT writes, stand your ground is even worse, but the Ohio State Conference, NAACP, has filed a lawsuit against it and have promising chances of overturning it because our lawyers discovered the way it was passed violated our state constitution. Okay, interesting. Well wishes to Junior. He loves hamming it up and coming in and doing whatever he does. She can't come on the property. Anthony writes, I don't go looking for any smoke, period. Lynn writes, we all know crazy. Kush writes, I know her, the student. Peoples, prayers to her family. Is that right? Terrible right there, man. Yeah, prayers to the family. And again, I don't know what that's like to kill somebody in a scenario like that. So, one woman has lost her life. She got 2 children. It's just some things as a parent I'm just not willing to do because I do have children. It's just some scenarios I don't want to put myself in. But Sister Iris writes, Michelle Dillingham came to get your vote. She had answers, knew the issue, plans aplenty. Yeah, Michelle Dillingham came to get your vote. Yeah, she did. She came for 2 things last night. This is just my opinion. She came to get your vote. And she came to tell you that the people on council right now have failed. That's what she came. She kept coming back to that. And I'm going to do some fact checking because she said something. Then Greg Landsman said something that contradicted what she said. And she came back and said, nah, that ain't right. And I think it was about how tax abatements are impacting the public schools. And Greg Landsman was like, well, that ain't really affecting this. He used a word. So he was very specific in the word that he used. He is like, we don't hold the schools at any fault or something like that. And then Michelle came back and was like, nah, bruh, it is in fact having an impact. So I'm going to do some digging on that and get to the bottom of it. Yeah, she came for your vote, and she's coming to tell you that the current culture ain't working. And she kept saying something like, she's looking forward to a whole new council. She kept talking about John Cranley. She kept talking about how we need a new mayor. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of John Cranley. Personally, whenever I see him, we always exchange pleasantries. As a citizen, we could have did a whole lot better, in my opinion. Especially as a black citizen. David writes, good morning, Nate, and to the choppers. Good morning to you, David.
Get to the chopper!
Maxine writes, were they ex-lovers? I need more info. I don't know. Ex-lovers. Anthony writes, some seem to want to crucify the homeowner. I think the young sister put herself in harm's way, just my opinion. Well, I don't want to come across like that. I'm trying to be very careful because it's a very delicate situation where there's real people and real opinions and real feelings and real relationships. And I'm very sensitive to that. But for the interest of the greater public and in the court of public opinion, I really want to keep the conversation going. So I'm trying to attack it from every scenario. Like I put myself in the role of the homeowner. You're at home. You got into an altercation. You know what I'm saying? This person put their hands on you. From what Joe Dieter said, Sierra Allen was the person that was starting the physical altercation that happened earlier in the day. You done put your hands on me. Now you're going to show up at my house at 2:30 in the morning. You've been yapping and talking about what you're going to do, and you better come out here, and I told you this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. At 2:30? What am I supposed to expect other than you're coming to do great bodily harm to me? That's what I would think. And that's why I wouldn't open the door. Now, I'm not blaming the homeowner for opening the door. I'm just trying to put myself in that scenario for the sake of the conversation. So I want to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from. I'm very sensitive to the families on both sides of this. This is not a game. It's very serious. And I want to approach it that way, but I still want to have the conversation with you right here, right now. So talk to me at 513-873-7134 if you want to share your thoughts on it. Again, this is delicate, it's sensitive, this is local. And at the same time, I'm trying to figure out what we can glean from this to learn or what should be the standard. What standard do we want in Hamilton County? Do we want a standard like this, or do we want a standard where you have a duty to retreat and don't open the door? I mean, why can't we have this conversation? We should. Shannon writes, not afraid to shoot. Hey, good morning to you, Shannon. Good to see you. Terry writes, what happened to the original statement that neighbors heard them arguing outside for 30 minutes? Oh, really? I didn't hear that. Really? I see. That's something new. Where that at? Where you hear that at, Terry? I haven't heard that at all, bro. So y'all arguing for 30 minutes on the porch? She's inside for 30 minutes? That's a long time to be arguing with somebody. What I look like arguing with somebody for 30 minutes at their house? Maxine writes, I'll call the police to be smart. Charles writes, you can open the door for Blackula, just don't invite him inside. Yeah, once you open that door, though. Ryan writes, that's unrealistic in the context. Tabitha writes, it seems like the homeowner took advantage of the situation and decided to use a weapon instead of calling the police. Could be. It's like, oh, you done made a mistake. Oh, you done made a mistake now. You done came to my house. You don't know what I got for you. So let me open this door and give you a little some of whatever I got for you. Like on some premeditation type stuff, like thinking ahead, like, I think I think my bases are covered here. I can shoot them. That kind of thing. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I was a great forum last night. I thought it was a good job by everybody involved. LaMonica writes, good morning. Oh, hey, look, good to see you, LaMonica. Susan writes, if she knew her, they were once friends. That may be why the young woman felt comfortable enough to go to the home of the shooter, perhaps intending to talk it out, but never had the chance. And see, Susan, it could have been like that. It could have been like that. Now, would you? Damn, that's some cold-blooded ish. You got a weapon in your pocket. You sitting here having this whole conversation with somebody, knowing in your head that if they make a move, you're gonna pop them. That's some cold-blooded ish right there. Somebody writes, retreat where? I think it was Reggie. Well, by retreat, I mean don't open the door. Somebody knocking on your door, you look outside the window, or you look through your whatever, the peephole, or maybe you got one of those closed circuit surveillance systems type of joint where you can look on your phone and you can see everything. Like, those things are very $200. You can get that real easy. You can install it in an hour, be up and running. And why open the door? In a scenario like that, is opening the door an act of aggression, especially if you got a weapon? Could be, or could not be. You tell me. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nathan, Choppers. How you doing?
Hey, good morning to you, TNT.
I'm doing fine. I don't even know where to begin because there's so many good things to cover. But I'll start with the young lady, the lawsuit, and that whole situation is very, very sad. Of course, the Castle Doctrine, basically says you have no duty to retreat. The moment a person steps one toe in your home, if you want to use deadly force, you have every right to. And so my main question with the scenario with her was, where was the body found? Was it outside of the home or inside of the home? Where was she shot? Was she shot in the back or in the side? Because if she shot either way, that shows that wasn't an aggressive stance. If she's running away, that means she was trying to retreat. So to say that I had to shoot you because there was no other recourse and I was in imminent danger don't apply if the bullet was on the side or in her back. But I don't think it's quite the same like if it's in the house. So if she was completely in the house, which I've seen one person say, like, she could have been dragged in the house as well. Hopefully evidence or something could show that. But if it's only you and that person, again, who speaks for the dead? And so you really don't know. And people say, well, 2:30 in the morning, why would anybody? But if these people had a relationship outside of a person that you have a relationship with at some point could have that audacity. This isn't some random situation. This is people that know each other. This woman knew she had kids. She came to her home, whatever the situation, to feel that comfortable. There's some familiarity. I can't even say it right. Some familiarness with the situation. And so that explains that, but it's just more answers that I need to kind of feel concrete about that whole situation. And just like one of the callers said, that's the power of the prosecutor's office. They can take a lot of things into consideration. They can just chop it up one way or the other. We've seen indictments and non-indictments that made absolutely no sense out of this prosecutor's office. So I think it's more questions that should be raised and evidence that should be asked for, at least the family should be asking for more. Now, if she was outside of the home, then it's the stand your ground law that applies, which, force has to be equal still. And so just because, someone's punching you or whatever, unless they're, got you in a situation which what worked for the Trayvon Martin case was George Zimmerman was saying that Trayvon Martin had me on the ground. He was banging my head against the wall, which was going to cause me death if I didn't pull in my, pocket and grab my gun and shoot him in the heart, which he did. But people think it's a fight, dukes up and everything else. But unless it's a scenario where you are close to death, you have no other. That's when stand your ground, equal force, that applies in that scenario where someone isn't doesn't have a weapon. Let's see what else. Oh, what I wanted to tell you about the NAACP. So when I went to our conference this past weekend, I learned that there's a lawsuit that our Ohio Conference NAACP has filed versus the state of Ohio. So it's Ohio NAACP versus state of Ohio. It's called the Everytown Law. And this is a case about, and I'm looking at my notes here, this is a case about bypassing the democratic process and silencing the voices of the people. So 3 things happened, right? First, what happened is that they silenced the voices of the people. So when they were going around, trying to introduce this law, they didn't give the people adequate time to state their case, whether they were for or against it. The hearings, they basically silenced their voices, or they cut them short, or they didn't have as many as they were supposed to. Every law must be considered 3 times in the Senate and 3 times in the House, according to our Constitution. They debated the law late at night, like 10, 11 p.m. Not at a time where you and I can be there to view it and see it and say anything. The Ohio Generalists, they did this like late at night, sneaky stuff. Last thing they did was it's the 1 subject rule. It's called log rolling. You can't combine a popular bill with 2 unrelated issues. That's what our state constitution says. So you have something like, okay, everybody agrees with anti-corruption, this and that, whatever, and we're all for that. And then you just try to sneak in a little, something else and put that in there because everybody agrees with this. You try to sneak in this real quick, and that's what they did. And our laws are supposed to be a 1 subject rule. You can't log roll. And so we got some incredible attorneys that are attacking this. I'll put in a link or in the Friends page some articles and the actual suit for you to read for yourself. But follow this, because if we are successful, that stand your ground law is gone. And hopefully it'll be a model for the nation, for other states to use. So when they say, what is the NAACP doing? They're making moves and they're challenging things that are harming us. And in this situation with the young lady, it's just awful. But I think there's more answers to be said. But just even in the scenarios that no matter how you roll it, just the audacity that people are feeling. There's a show called Fear Thy Neighbor. I think it's on Ivey, station channel 25 if you have Spectrum or whatever. I watch that sometimes, and you'll be surprised the different scenarios when you have gun owners, and it happens a great deal in white neighborhoods. They have the issue with their neighbor. It starts off small, and then it's just this ongoing back and forth, and then one person got a gun and they're just itching. They just itching to use it, and so anything they can do to lure you to their property. So for the moment that you just in a moment of rage or anger or argument, they ready to pull out that gun and kill you, and just dismiss all the fact that this person had a whole family. Whatever y'all situation was it really that serious? Just excuse all of that. And some people go to jail, and some people, they get out, clean as a whistle. You know what I mean? It just depends on where you live, and it's sad. Going to the forums, everyone did wonderful last night. For me, it would be a hard choice. Like, it wasn't one candidate that didn't say something that, you know, I was impressed with. But what I think the key word that came out of that whole forum was the need for intentionality and the will to do things. There's a lot of things that could be done, and a lot of in some of the crises and things that we see and happening. It's because of the lack of will and people just overting dollars and using it and abusing it. Even that lawsuit, you know, Lincoln didn't really read the whole thing with that, but the lawsuit on the tax abatements, which I don't have it right in front of me, but you know, I did some research on that, and it was interesting how, you know, they named out certain neighborhoods that, you know, basically had 50% of all the abatements in this city. You know, just and there's no reason it would make you see that this is why they are wealthy neighborhoods. You know, they get all the breaks and everything else. And so this lawsuit basically has spelled out that as a remedy that for 10 years, all African-American homeowners will receive 100% abatement, and that anyone, your current homeowners and anyone within that 10 years that became a homeowner could receive 100% abatement as a remedy. And I, you know, if some people probably couldn't talk about that because of lawsuit, or some people are saying like that's unconstitutional, like you can't really slice it that way. I don't know. I wanted the answers. I wanted to hear, you know, can that work? Should that work? And then, but the first question is, if it's discriminatory, then all bets are off. So if you agree with the fact that how the city has handled these abatements was racially discriminatory, then the remedy can be that. You know, it's almost like a form of reparations in a sense, because you have to the wrong that was done is egregious, and you can't call, you know, race or discrimination or anything else when the act that was done was discriminatory in nature. And so you have to rectify that. So in the form of reparations or the remedy is that some people may feel that's extreme. I don't think so. I think it's justified because a lot of people did not receive or got blocked out or been paying more or been having the burden of the city, and other people wasn't paying their fair share. For what other reason? Because they're rich, they're white, they're wealthy, you know, connected. So there was a lot to unpack there. Going to the mayor's race, I was able to catch. I was looking for it everywhere, and then something just popped up on my screen. I was able to tag into it, and I have to say that the very first question I thought was like really, really rude. Like it was from Sherry Coolidge, and she was like, and she posted to David Mann and was like, a lot of people are saying that you're really old, you know, and what makes you think that you can be the mayor because you're so old? It was just like, what? I'm just like, wow, you know, that's how you gonna, like, you can feel however you want to feel about the mayor, but does he deserve to, like, isn't there some type of thing with ageism and stuff like he should? But anyway, and hearing his response, it was like he didn't even dignify that. Now he could have said, you know, well, your president is what, 79? Or I'm only 2 years older than your president or whatever, and but I'm, you know, here and I'm doing this or whatever. I feel fine or whatever. But he really didn't even dignify the answer, and I thought it was just like to just start the forum out like that was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But yeah, I got from Mann that whole attack mode too. But AFTAB handled it like a champ, and he stayed true to his platform. So that whole room could have been filled with white people, and that man was still talking about racial justice and what his goals is and what his intentionality was. And if you did not see it, you should watch that and just see for yourself. It was really impressive. Some of the answers made by the candidates on that forum last night. Only other thing I said, and I probably shouldn't even say that, but I couldn't understand. David Mann's eyes was like so wet. It was just like bothering. I don't know what that was. Like eyeballs were sweating and stuff. But it just I don't know. I got sensory problems. I just couldn't get my mind off like looking at his eyes. Like, what is going on? What is wrong? But I digress. Everything was good. If y'all didn't see the candidates forum last night, you should check it out. And because all of those candidates, I learned a lot. And I have to go back and listen to it a second time just to grab some more information, because it sparked more questions that I have that I could pose to other candidates moving forward, which next week, Tuesday, is our third installment of the City Council series. And hopefully Nathan Ivey is doing that one. And then on Thursday is the 30th, September 30th. And I believe Iris is doing that one. And then we're into October. And then we have our own mayoral race, which should be good. So, and for that race, we're taking questions still. If it's something you want to pose to the mayoral candidates, if I'm friends with you on Facebook, send me something in Messenger or whatever on my Facebook page. Call the NAACP, go to our website, send it to our email or whatever, which way you can, but let us know, or go to our Facebook page and put a question there like, hey, I want to ask the mayoral candidates this. I want to ask the city council candidates this. We want to keep it fresh with the questions. Like, I don't want it to be the same typical, so people could just see what we said before and try to, study that real good. I want something new almost every time. Now, there will be some that will be recurring because they're just important issues, and we need to know what people's stance are on those things. But for the most part, we trying to hit them with something different each round, if possible. And that only happens with your help. So that's all I got. Thank you. I know. I told you you're talking about too many things. I don't know where to start, begin, and end. It's good, but thank you. That's what I got to say. Thanks to digital media, because the platform is incredible. So thank you.
Oh, there it is. I did it again. So again, thank you so much for TNT calling. I appreciate it. Hope she got it all in. Appreciate it. And I knew she had a lot to unpack. Let me take a quick break, a quick pause for the cause, so to speak. We'll come right back. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed to be men, and of course, sucker MCs get dealt with. This is the last honest place in Cincinnati media, and we'll be right back.
Love interrupted by tragedy, lost in the drought of nightfall, running in search of the remedy, trying to find her place in it all, focused only on the negative. All she can attract is pain. Perception is what will manifest. Thought she could escape, but it's all the same. Birds fly south for the winter, but she ran to the west side. And though much was stolen, much still abides. And I know she'd rather keep her distance But as time moves on, she's drifting away. Drifting away from me. But did the ocean breeze pacify you? Did the palm trees sanctify you? I bet the ocean breeze did advise you that you'll never find you on the run from yourself. On the run from yourself. Concrete will shape to quicksand. Just when you think you're in control, but you're not alone. Take my hand, no shame in the surrender to a bigger picture. Birds fly south for the winter, but you ran to the west side. And though much was stolen, much still abides. And I know you don't wanna burn bridges, but as time moves on, you slipping away from me. But did the ocean breeze pacify you? Did the palm trees sanctify you? I bet the ocean breeze did advise you that you'll never find you on the run from yourself. On the run from yourself.
All right, good morning, everybody. Let's get back to it. Just a quick break. Good morning to you. Welcome back. Let me put the cover up here so everybody can see it. This is what we've been talking about. Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieter says self-defense in the case of an NKU student. You can see an image of her right there, who was found shot to death. As he says, it was self-defense because the woman in the picture went to the home of a woman that she had had a physical altercation with earlier in the day. This all happened back on September 11th, so about 11 days ago. And she goes to the woman's house at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. The woman opens the door. They get into a physical altercation. Joe Dieter says the woman in the picture lunged at the homeowner. The woman shot her dead. He says clear-cut case of self-defense. So we've been unpacking it and discussing it. Also, last night it was a big night for local politics. You had two forums. The NAACP Prince Hall Masons had a city council forum, and then Cincinnati Inquirer, WVXU's Xavier University, they had a mayoral candidate forum. And of course, I'm hip to everything, and I want to give you my thoughts about it and also take your thoughts as well. Again, if you want to share your thoughts, it's all good. Just open your mind before you open your mouth. It's all good. I throw the number up there. You want to talk to me, you want to talk to us, you can use that number. You can also leave a message in the chat, and I'll read your comments as they come up. Good morning to you. Sharp Rice, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. First day of fall. Mila J. Rice, I just wonder, could police have been called instead of opening the door? They were once friends. Why not save a life? I'm with you on that. CG Dub, that's Chocolate Girl Wonder, writes, good morning, Choppers. J. Ron's in the house. He writes, happy first day of autumn. Ray writes, man is long in the tooth and needs to go sit down. Yeah, TNT, I didn't have a problem with that question. I thought it was a good question for man. I thought it was a fair question, and it was a fair question to ask David Mann. You know, I might ask him the same thing. And it's not necessarily because I look at him and think because of his age it disqualifies him, because I do not per se. But that's what people are saying right now. I hear it all over the place, like, oh, he's too old, he should go sit down. I was just at a social gathering maybe about a month ago, and it was mixed crowd, white, black folks, younger, older, and it came up. And people were there. I was just sitting back listening. They was like, yeah, he too old, he should go sit down. Is that fair? Probably not. Or maybe it is. You know, that's something David Mann's gonna have to deal with. I mean, your age, how you look, your physical fitness, the way people perceive you, perception, it's a reality, and it plays a role in this. And so you're up on stage with Avtab Pureval, who's tall, looks like he's working out every day, young, got all this energy, or younger. I think he's like 39, 40, something like that. And here you are 81. It's going to be an issue. And I thought it was a fair question to ask him so he could explain for himself and make his own case. I thought that was fair. I thought it was fair. At one point, Sharon Coolidge tried to go for Avtab. She was like, well, she picked up on some stuff that David Mann was saying, like, will you release your former employees from their non-disclosure agreements so they can speak freely? And I'm thinking, I don't really care, be honest with you. Like, when a new boss comes in, and you take over, you get to set the table, period. That's just the way the world works. Everybody know that. I'm the new whatever. I want my team there, period. There's nobody in this audience that wouldn't do the same thing. You become the new, what is he, the clerk of courts? You're the new clerk of courts. Everybody know that it was nepotism. Everybody know what was going on down there. If he want a clean house, okay. That's just the way it goes. It wouldn't matter who went in the office. Whoever goes into that office is going to have their team, their standards, the people they want. Nobody's going to say a word about it. Same thing's going to happen right now with Hamilton County Treasurer. You had Charlie Winburn there, right? Jill Schiller just took over because she won the election. Guess what's going to probably happen? She's going to put her people in place. That's just the way of the world. That's the way it goes. Ain't no right, ain't no wrong. To the victor goes the spoils. You become the new director or the new whatever the title may be, and you're in a position to remake the staff. 9 times out of 10, you're going to remake the staff in the image that you want it to be. So I just felt like that question was like, you just getting rid of people because they're Republicans. I mean, okay, well, let's flip it. Does that mean that because you're Republican, people was getting jobs for a long time down there? So I just thought that was a minor point that really, really wasn't worth the time. You know, who did David Amadeus Mann think that he was going to impress by saying that? I don't care, because I know how it works. You know, for a long time, if you were a Democrat, or depending on what you look like and who you know, you might not have got a job down there. Somebody new comes in there, they set the table. It's a whole new culture. You don't like it, vote. I mean, that's just me. But let me go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, comrade.
What's up? What's up, Black Russia? Good morning.
I'm chilling. What's happening? Good morning.
I can't complain, man. What's on your mind?
Nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to hear your complaints anyway, sir.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm gonna start with one question. Whose bright idea was to schedule the forum for the council candidates during the same time as the mayoral debate?
Well, I mean, I don't know how to answer that.
I just want to know who thought of that. Who thought that was a good idea? I don't know how to answer it either. I was just like, you got the mayoral debate and you got these council candidates. I'm gonna watch the mayor's debate, and I think David Mann clearly won the debate because look, and he pointed this out, and I thought this was right because I've checked out Avtab's plan on his website too. Like he says, he's got every plan he's got on the website. He's saying nothing. It's all platitudes and just talking points. I don't know if you read it yourself. Maybe you should read. Maybe the listeners should read what he actually has out for his plan, because he's saying affordable housing, criminal justice, all that stuff. When you read it, he's saying nothing. Like there's no concrete plan. Like David Mann been down there. Like Avtab tried to say, "Well, you turned your back on Black Lives Matter." Well, I think David Mann explained that very clearly. People were in there about to fight with blue ones and all type of shit. So for the safety of people, let's shut it down. People were prevented from talking. Like Avtab just seems like he's gonna bow down to Black Lives Matter and people who are gonna just want to turn this city upside down. He was on stage talking about people are tired of the petty politics. But nobody's talking about petty politics, bro. People are asking Avtab, "What's your plans?" He said they're on website, and if you read them, they're saying nothing. It's just like he's trying to charm his way into the mayor's seat, and it's cool. You got to do what you got to do to win. But people who are really, really tuned in and dialed in, I hope they dialed in now, and I hope they go to both websites. David Mann ain't got to put up no plan, man. He is the plan. You know what I'm saying? He's been down there steady. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at somebody who's been there, done that, especially with a whole new council coming in. Hell, Greg Lance may not even make it. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have 8, 9 new council members. They're gonna be down there not looking at each other, sucking their thumbs. What do we do? That's what we don't need right now. So I watched the debate. I thought it was clearly David Mann's show. Aftab was just, not impressive to me. I mean, he looks good, he's a shiny new object in the room, but he ain't saying nothing. So I'll let y'all chew on that. Have a good day, comrade.
All right, appreciate the call. Appreciate it. Let me re-leveling up with all these calls this morning. So you said go to the website. I have been to Aftab's website, but not recently. He does have a lot of information here, which I must admit I have not read through everything, but I will, because I want to answer that observation you made. I do see a whole lot of plans. They spend a lot of time and money putting this together with the PDF files and all this kind of stuff. Affordable housing plan, economic recovery plan, environmental plan, criminal justice plan. Okay. Finance reports. He talked last night. Aftab said, look, you can look at all the money, all of my financial reports. It is on his website. I'm looking at it right now. Okay. I'm at David Mann, manforcincinnati.com. Priorities at mayor. Let me see. The Mann plan, lifting up Black Cincinnati. That's interesting. He's gonna lift up Black Cincinnati, but he don't want to talk to Black media that's in Cincinnati. But I do appreciate that he's mentioning us. Okay, so I need to do a little bit more homework here. Lifting up Black Cincinnati. Let me see. The Urban League's landmark report, the state of Black Cincinnati, 2 cities documented significant and distressing racial disparities, which are part of everyday life for Black Cincinnatians. The report details the continued huge disparities in poverty, minority-owned businesses, life expectancy, blah, 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 blah. So it's interesting that he's got that on his website. And again, I have to ask Lincoln, I don't know, but has David Mann spoken with Lincoln Ware? I know I reached out during the primary, and basically they told me they didn't have time to talk with us here. And I just took it as if they didn't really care, or they felt like the platform was too small, which would be a mistake. What's interesting is I go to David Mann's website, and he's got this lifting up Black Cincinnati, and his whole plan is on one sheet. And it doesn't mean that because his plan is on one sheet, and then when you go to Aftab's website, he's got like a lot more details, or a lot more, let me say, there's a lot more there to read. It's more, there's more to read, we'll put it that way, because I haven't read it all, including sources. So what I can tell you without having read both of the plans, that on their website, there's a lot more there on Aftab's website about his plans than on David Mann's. Now, I haven't read it, so I can't tell you, as Black Russia said, is it just about nothing? But all I can tell you, there's a lot more there on Aftab's website. Whatever that means, read it for yourself and check it out for yourself. I will. By tomorrow, I'll be up to speed on all of this. I just had things going on last night and this morning that I had to attend to. But if I had to just at a glance say which of the 2 mayoral candidates have more information about their plan on their website, it's night and day. It ain't even close. But I'll show you, actually. Let me screenshot it for you. You ain't got to take my word for it. I'll screenshot it for you, and you can check it out for yourself, and you tell me what you think. So this is David Mann's website. I'm doing this anyway. Okay, so we can just jump in right into it right now. So this is his website right here. We'll go to you got priorities. So here's his website as it comes up right here. It's the front page of his website. David Mann, lifting up Black Cincinnati. That's featured very prominently. Okay, I like that as a Black Cincinnati, and I like that. I click on it, and here's what we see. He's got there's no black agenda. There's no plan here. It just says, the Urban League had a landmark report, which I've talked to you about many times before. He's got a long track record, but there's no particular plan per se. COVID response. Okay, so a lot of facts here. It looks like more facts and bullet points than a real plan. But then that's just me looking over it real quick. So this one sheet is the entirety of David Mann's plan that you can find on his website. That's the entire, it's all on one sheet. If we jump over to, let's jump over to AvTab. And again, make your own decision. I haven't read it, so I'm not telling you how much substance is there. I'm just telling you there's more there. Okay. This is AvTab's website. Hold on. This is AvTab's website right here. They got Meet AvTab, so I haven't clicked on that. I'm sure it'll be pictures of him and his family, issues, policy plans. Let's click on policy plans, right? Because that's what we care about. What's the plan, right? And then you've got these 4 pillars here: affordable housing plan, economic recovery plan, environmental plan, criminal justice plan. Let's click on affordable housing and see. And so what it appears to be is like a series of sheets, you might even call it a PDF. And I haven't read all of this. So just at a glance, it looks like there's a wide lens of what the issue is. But I don't know how much he drills down to give specifics about, his vision, because that's what we're looking for from a mayor. What's your vision? Where's your energy at? What positions, what direction are you going to be pushing in? What do you believe in? But again, like I told you, that there's a lot more there. So it's interesting that between the two websites, that Black Russia would say that that AvTab's website is not sufficient, when again, there's just more there. There's just more to read and unpack. Now, what you're going to read and unpack, we'll have to read and unpack it and then come back to you. Again, I want to keep it real with you. I want us to have the best information we possibly can. But that's just me. And I think it's interesting because there was a question that was asked about your overall, like, what are your pillars? What do you believe in? Last night. And AvTab said, essentially, he started talking about racial justice and equality and parity and things like that. Things that sound good to my ear. Now, it's just talk. But again, if somebody's talking in a scenario like that, I want to hear that talk. Okay. What's interesting is that when it went to David Mann, even though David Mann has something about, recovering Black Cincinnatians on his website, that wasn't his response. His response to the question was to start talking about what AvTab did when he was the clerk of courts and how he let 15 people go. And I thought, okay, that doesn't really get to the answer. But the question was, what's the difference between us and what's your vision? I just thought that David Mann's response was it was less than what I was looking for as a voter, in my humble opinion. You might look at it differently. I don't know. But let's go back to the phones and say good morning and welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. It's Kev on the field.
What up, Kev?
Trying to make it. I'm making it. It's a great day to have a great day. Happy hump day to the choppers. And as I placed on the chat, today's a great day to start making that first million that you're going to save and pass on to your heirs.
I like that.
Man, it's fall, man. I went out, I started to step outside. I'm like, oh, it's chilly? I don't even understand what's happening right now.
I love it.
Cincinnati weather at its right? Cincinnati weather at its best. Couple things. One, Russia said something a moment ago, and I want to piggyback off of that. In that he said, I don't know about having an all new council. I think of it, a good analogy, or I believe it's a good analogy, is like a football team. You know what I mean? You get this football team, you get all this brand new, fantastic talent on the squad, but nobody's ever been there before, man. And that can cause kind of some growing pains and learning, learning opportunities that perhaps somebody might be able to pass it down to you. So that's a good point, man. As much as I want fresh faces or, fresh ideas, there is something to be said about, understanding decorum, understanding procedure, and all of those other things that go into actually being functional in any organization. So, props for that, man. I think that is something that we kind of overlook a lot of times. This is really bad, but so when I was younger, many of the, and people are going to say I'm rambling, but I'm not. Okay, but when I was younger, they changed the rules in the clubs. Right by the time I turned 19, they changed the alcohol age and everything, and the older folks that were in the clubs was like, we don't want to hang with them young cats. We don't want them in here with us. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of the people that I grew up with, when I was much younger and really shouldn't have been in the clubs, I was in the clubs anyway. So I saw how, people were at Skippers and Jellos and all these other places and how they acted. And they was dressed to the nines and all this other stuff. But by the time I got old enough to actually get in the club, they had made these changes and they didn't want to hang with us young cats. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people didn't really figure out what it was supposed to be like. And that's a lot of why, the culture changed in the clubs and people started doing different things. Sometimes you need somebody in front of you, man, just to be the guide, to tell you, hey, this is kind of the way we do things. Now, sometimes those things need to change. There's a lot of issues that are downtown, but I don't think that we should, immediately dismiss all of these people because of their age and things like that. There is something to be said for that. What do you think about that, bro?
Well, I mean, I'm in favor of an all new council. All this stuff about decorum and all that stuff, you can learn that on the job. Like at some point, Kevin Flynn and Tarbell and David Mann, they were all rookies. They learned it. So I don't think the learning curve is so high that you got to have somebody that used to be on some elder statesman to show them how it's done. If they really care, even if they're not on council, you can shoot them an email and meet them for lunch and tell them what they need to know. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with some brand new faces, some rookies. They'll learn on the job like everybody does. It's not that steep of a learning curve. People been doing it.
I think, though, the people that you just mentioned, they did learn on the job.
Right.
From the people that were there before. Because they didn't come into all new councils.
You learn by doing it.
New hits.
You learn by doing it.
I'm not saying that. I get that, but they didn't walk into nine new faces. Those
I don't know what they walked
just
into.
Named Kevin Flynn and all those people. Well, I mean, I follow politics enough to know that there was a Charlie Lucan before there was a there is continuum down there. It's not like those folks walked into. I cannot recall, and I've been following politics a pretty long time. I can't recall a time when there wasn't at least one incumbent.
Yeah, but that don't mean they're working
council.
together. That don't mean that they're sitting down and teaching them the ropes just because they were on council before them. That doesn't mean.
I don't think that's. I don't think that's what I'm saying either. I don't know, even if we're talking about sitting them down and teaching them the ropes. I mean, that'd be great. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of asking somebody to step outside of their own their own platform, their own, in order to do that. But what I'm saying is, and to be fair, there are rules as well. So there's procedural rules and all of that good stuff that they have to follow, that they will be taught, learn. They'll have to learn whatever.
Yeah, they'll learn.
But again, I'll admit to that and agree to that. But I will also say that there is something to be said for having somebody around. Folks need mentors, man. It's been proven in study after study.
You can be a mentor
and
on the sidelines. You don't have to be a mentor on council.
So you're hoping that somebody will be a mentor on the sideline. You are hoping that somebody will step up and help them.
Yeah,
but
and you're hoping that somebody
to
be a mentor if they're also a member of council. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm hoping that they'll have an opportunity to see and understand the procedure, so that there's no stall in the procedures. To be honest, the only thing that, if we're going to be 100% candid and honest, what matters to me is how what you do down there affects my life. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know what you're doing, and that causes me issues in my life, if I got to wait on your learning curve to figure out if, you know, the street's going to get, if we're going to have enough, if we're going to have enough salt for the snow, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a part of that plan. Now, again, there are other departments that are going to handle it, and people are going to say stuff like that, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? So don't take it in its entirety, right? But, you know, again, I do think that the continuum is valid, and I do want fresh ideas. There are some really dynamic people. I didn't get to see the forum yesterday. I am so at a loss because I literally was working on a project, and I was like, man, I'm about to miss the candidates. And as soon as I clicked it on, they were saying that you know, this has been great. And I was like, dang. And then it was late, and you know what I'm saying? And then it was late, and I was like, man, I'm just have to watch that tomorrow on the replay. But and you know, like I said, what I'm loving though, and it's really kind of disingenuous on the chop shop. You know what I'm saying? We already know that everybody's engaged here. Absolutely do. I want folks to understand and know that when I'm saying this, bring 3 people to the polls thing and everything, it really ain't for you, because I already know most folks in here gonna do whatever they gotta do. But you know, we need to pass that word along to other folks, especially folks that we know that may not be tuning in, for them to do it too. You know what I'm saying? So that we do really get some input, because this is we are definitely at a turning point for this city, man. A huge turning point. New council, new opportunities. I want to see an actual agenda. I mean, you know, I'll throw out the first thing out there, man. We need, as part of our platform, for African Americans in the greater Cincinnati area, or Africans throughout the diaspora in the greater Cincinnati area, we need, as a platform, better schools. And that means that we need to hold to some standard that we are not just going to be continually improving every year. At some point, you got to move towards excellence. At some point, you got to at least say, okay, well, we got to go to be at excellent by, and then, you know, you fill in that date for me. I don't know. I'm not an educator. That's not my job. But I need you to tell me what day you're going to start moving from this continually improving thing, which, from my understanding, is a D on the report card, to if my daughter had D's on her report card every year, I mean every quarter. Oh man, listen, you can't. There's nothing you're gonna be really bored, because all I need you to do is study. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta get that at least as point one. Like, when are we gonna actually have some sort of plan with benchmarks that tells us when we go from continually improving to, you know, whatever the next grade level up is, the next benchmark, whatever that milestone is. When are we going to do that? And we should demand that. And if that's not in your platform, which a lot of those fluffy websites, by the way, you know, they're pretty, but content isn't king. Actually, content just makes your website pretty. You can have a lot of words on there, and they all could say nothing. In fact, they have fillers for that. So, you know, we here, and I mean us, on you know, in the chop shop, let's start putting this platform together, something, an actual agenda for us that we agree on. We might not agree on everything, that we can then go down there and say, like, if this is what you're doing, we're voting for you. If you ain't doing this, we ain't voting for you. Period.
Kev, I like the way it sounds, man. I like it. Thank you for the call. Hey. Appreciate you, brother.
Let's get it, bro. Be blessed.
Most deaf. Sounds good to me. I'm down with it. I'm down. I thought Brother Lawrence was working on something like that already. I mean, where's that at? See here. I thought he had some really good ideas on his plan, or the plan that him and his team put together. Where are we here? You see. Bunky writes, good morning, Bunky. He writes, she opened the door because she knew that the lady was on her way. The text messages will prove this. Tracy writes, why are we missing the fact that she has a right to open her door? Maurice writes, I have fought friends back in the 80s and we cool to this day. No one was shot. There was blood, but we both still alive. Bringing back CCY would be wonderful. I agree with you. Daryl writes, come on, y'all. Something happened early in the day and you come over at 2:30 a.m. ? The person had raised and she was stewing with, this is deeper than normal, which is the reason for something with hyper emotional motivation. I agree. It does seem that way. Terrence writes, Tracy, and that there was an earlier altercation on the day. They keep changing factors so it suits their arguments. Tracy writes, this whole call to police stuff is funny to me. I thought we stopped calling the police on our people. Now we want it both ways. I don't know what that means. Ben writes, Charles, this is crazy. It's crazy. Aaron Hodges is in there. He writes, this is a tough situation to process. I feel sorry for both families involved. Correctly. Again, if that's me and somebody's banging on the door at 2:30 a.m., we had an altercation early in the day. We put our hands on one another. I got my weapon. I'm ready to go. I'm not opening the door. Why would I open the door? If I open the door, all it's going to do, and I got my weapon on me, it's only going to go one or two ways. You bang on the door. Either you going to get shot or we going to get into a physical altercation. Either or. I think that there is more information that should come out. Somebody said that it was earlier reported that neighbors heard them arguing for about 30 minutes on the porch. Now you arguing for about 30 minutes. And Tracy, one of the biggest fallacies in the world is that black people don't call the police. I call the police. If you come on my street dealing that dog or whatever you dealing, I'm going to take a photograph of your license and send it to my contacts over at the nearest police precinct. And then when they come roll down on you, I'm going to be sitting on my porch. Just watch the whole spectacle. That's one of the biggest lies ever, that black folks don't call. Black folks call the police. We just call the police when it's necessary. That's when it's necessary. Somebody knock on your door, you tell them, like, man, go on back home, man. Get off my porch before I call the boys on you. You give them a warning. I'm going to call the boys. You roll up out of here, man. Get off my porch, whatever the hell you're going to do. And then if they don't do it, you call the boys. That's what police get paid to do. Handle those kind of situations. I let them handle that work, and I'll go back to bed. You know what I'm saying? I got to get up and do a show in the morning. I ain't got time for this. Terrence writes, and this isn't the only issue folks flip-flop on. Terrence is just, you still on that shit, huh, bro? Jesus Christ, man. Not a good look, bro. Jared writes, I will say we really need to know more about the history between these two to make a judgment. We don't know the history between them enough. Correct them, Mundo. I agree with you, Jared. You don't. We don't. We're just using the information that we have available to us while acknowledging there's a lot of information that we don't have available to us. I completely agree with that. Maxine writes, exactly. I'm with you 100%. Pamela writes, Tarbell probably feels he doesn't need a good website. He has the mentality that you should just drive downtown and see his giant portrait on that building. Not getting my vote. Yeah, some of these people, man, it's like, what's the use of having a website if there's nothing there? I look at it as two ways. On one hand, I look at it as being lazy. And on the other hand, I look at it as being arrogant. You too lazy to take the time to put your plan and your issues and what you believe in? I mean, that's just basic. Like, how am I supposed to know anything about you then? Or you so arrogant that you think that you juiced in or you got name recognition or whatever, you got it in the bag. Okay. The most requested podcast is in the house. It's sad, but she did that to herself. She could have went home to her children. At the end of the day, bro, you're right, man. You're right. It's just some things I don't do because I got people that depend on me. You know, I got a little boy to look after. And if I die, then my child will be a bastard. Kinda. Maybe not. But you know the point I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just some things that you got to be smart about. Is there a scenario in which I would go to somebody's? I'm not even going to speak on it. So let's just say that it would have to be an extreme scenario for me to do something like that. It'd have to be extreme. And I can't even give you an example of what that would be. Because like I said, I'm a live and let live kind of person. If you ain't no threat to me, you know, you pop off at the mouth and talk that juicy fly-ish, I just look at you like, okay. Oh, that's funny. I just look at you. You ain't really no threat to me. I don't really get all out of pocket unless it's something that I need to get out of pocket for. Other than that, I'm cool as a fan. You're just words. You're just talking. And that's it. And that's it. But I've got that kind of disposition. There's some people out there that's they ready to get blizzy, as I put it, instantly. It don't take a little bit of nothing. Their whole life they willing to put their whole life on the line just for something like that. I'm not that guy. See, Terrence writes, while we're talking about a black agenda, we need to make sure we have more than 30% turnout. But you know what, Terrence? I'll be honest with you. I think you got to give people something to vote for. I think you got to give people something to vote for. When people have something to vote for, they will turn out. So I think there's a connection between the two, in my humble opinion. I could be wrong about that. You see, Miosha. What's up, Miosha? She writes, how old is Tarboro anyway? Dude was like 90 when he was on council. I don't know how old he is. I don't hold a person's age against them. Either way, whether they're younger, on the young spectrum or the older spectrum, it makes no difference. I think that there's a virtue to both sides of those opinions. I would vote you on the quality of your thoughts and your ideas and your experience and things like that. To me, and I'm trying real hard not to disqualify David Mann on this, but he was the only person in that council committee that walked away from the people. And I didn't think that, I think AFTAB couched it as he walked away from Black Lives Matter. I would have couched it as you walked away from the people, because that's what he did. It was bigger than Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? And all the people in that room were not with Black Lives Matter. We keep doing that. We keep thinking everybody in that room was not Black Lives. I know a bunch of people was in that room. They have no association with Black Lives Matter whatsoever. I'm talking about the day, that fateful day last year when they had the, Budget and Finance Committee. If I'm wrong about that, somebody set me straight. And it was at the Duke Convention Center, Duke Energy Convention Center. And people was in there getting rowdy. They was getting loud. They was going outside the lines, and I loved it. But if I was on council, none of that would have fazed me one bit. It would have been more concern, because I would have taken it as, oh, this is something that people really care about. You got a lot of people that are concerned, and they're angry and they're agitated because they want to see us do something. I wouldn't have took it as a personal threat to me. Mofos in there screaming loud. I just gotta let them get their piece in. Let me hear what you got to say then. Okay, I hear you, sis. Okay, hear you, bro. Hear him out. But he chose to run away, talking about everybody, I just lose. He'll do the same thing again. That's how I look at it. He'll do the same thing again in a moment of crisis. Again, that was a moment of crisis. And those are so valuable moments, man. A moment of crisis can tell you a lot about a person. It's easy to be the leader when everything's okay, when there's no problems, when everything's running smooth sailing. Anybody can be a leader then. Anybody can lead then. There's no problem, smooth sailing. Oh, man, this is easy. But when there's a crisis, when things get ill, when tempers start to go up, when the demand goes up, when you're backed against the wall, that's when we get a chance to see what a person is really made of, what they really made of. And we saw. Got all these members of council, they sitting there chilling, concerned. This mofo gonna walk out. I mean, I'm trying hard not to hold that one thing against David Mann, but it's real hard because that was a moment right there. That was a moment where we can analyze and judge these individuals. That's rare. We rarely get opportunities like that. That's why I loved all that heat that people was putting on council. I hate that it died down. I wish they were still doing it. I loved every bit of it because it gave me a chance to critique the leadership. Like, okay, how you gonna deal with this leadership? Bingo. I know who you are now. Like I said, everybody cool at the parade. Everything's going right. Everything's moving full sailing. That's easy peasy. Anybody could lead in those circumstances. But when the ish hit the fan and tempers are up, demands are up, your back's against the wall, that's when I want to know who you really all about. And we found out. Jerica writes, oh, I didn't read that the woman shot was the aggressor at the game. I read she was allegedly aggressor at the house. It was both, Jerica, as I read it in an article in WLWT. That's what I read, and maybe I read across different articles. I posted it in the chat so people can check it out for themselves. Politically Petty's in the house. He writes, "Morning, Nate in the Choppers. Good morning to you. Good to see you." Aaliyah writes, "What would make you leave your babies at home at 2:30 in the morning? Did she have her kids in the car or at home alone?" I think it's the first question is a fair question. The other two questions I do not know. Like, I'm gonna leave my kids at 2:30 in the morning, go to your house and argue about some dumb ish that's already over with. I just don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I don't want no smoke at all. I'm running from the smoke. I don't want no smoke with nobody. Maurice writes, "The young woman who went to the other young woman's house was wrong. If this argument situation is true, then they both had intended to do bodily harm to each other. Listen, if you have an altercation with any human being in the world, y'all get into it physically, and then the same person that put their hands on you, friend or no friend, used to be friend, you went to elementary school together or not, they knock on your door at 2:30 in the morning, you think they won't smoke. You think they won't smoke. All the smoke. Because they're coming to your house at 2:30. And for me, if another man shows up on my doorstep, I know he got a weapon. Ain't no doubt about it. There's no way in the world I can see a situation like that in which another man or a human knocks on my door after we had an altercation. You come into my house, I feel like you must be trying to come to kill me. I'm just being honest with you. That's what I'm going to assume, and that's why I'm not going to open the door. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you stay outside with all that nonsense because you know what it is. You know, Buddy can get it. It is what it is. So I think that's fair in the sense of what you would assume: white, black, Asian, Native American, Haitian. By the way, those images from what's happening with the Haitian migrants is downright repugnant, and is going to come back to bite the Biden administration in the arse. So what's going to happen? Biden needs to get busy, man. All this back and forth about, the Republicans won't let us. That's not going to fly. Sidebar, it's not going to fly, but I digress a bit. Jerica writes, "Not at 2:30 a.m., ma'am. There is nothing to discuss unless I invited you over." What's up, Stefan? Good to see you, bro. Lisa writes, I have scolded and schooled my children when they were young and dumb about going to someone's house about beef. It can turn out way different and nothing can be done. I'm never going to somebody's house about a beef. Bunky writes, "Yep, that homeowner baited her." Yep, could have been. Kamiki writes, "I'm certain prosecutors investigated body placement and all other factors. It was not based just on the word of the shooter." I would probably think so, but with Joe did this, you never know. Angela writes, "Good morning. My mom's always said, don't go to nobody's house looking for trouble because you just might get your issue. Sad situation all around. Wish it would have been handled differently. Prayers up." See, Greg's in the house. What up, Greg? He writes, "Good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Good to see you." Jerica writes, "No, ma'am. We fought earlier that day, and you're coming to my home unexpectedly at 2:30 a.m. No, ma'am. I'm not opening the door. Let them folks deal with you on the porch." It ain't happening. Nat writes, "I wonder if Fanon Rucker would have charged her." Now, that's a good damn question. That's a really interesting question. I don't know. Only Fanon would know that. That's a good question. That's a good question, man. That's a good question. I'm not saying that Joe D this is wrong. Let me say that. This is just a conversation that I want to have here locally because it's something that happened here locally and we should be talking about it and breaking it all the way down. Like, what should be the standard? Should the standard be that in a situation like this, and you know that the person on the other side of the door is on some dumb ish, that you don't even open the door? And if you do open the door, does that mean that somehow now you've done something, you should be charged criminally? I don't know. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate. How you doing? This is Terrence.
Hey, what's up, Terrence? Good morning.
Not too much. Say you said I'm back on my ish again, but you actually just restated exactly the point that I was trying to hammer home. You said just a second ago, I'm not even sure if you disagree with Joe Dieters on his decision to not charge this lady in this scenario. Now, here's why what you said correlates exactly to what I'm talking about. In the case that we're dealing with the Sandra Bowles situation or any other situation we call questionable here in Cincinnati, there's only one person, one prosecutor that ultimately has that decision outside of sending it to a grand jury for that people of the city to actually make a decision on whether or not charges are warranted or not. It's a bad, we call it, it's a bad break. It's a bad break. Let's just be, completely honest about it. But, earlier on, I saw that we were, in my opinion, we were doing a lot of contorting in terms of what the circumstances may or should have been in order for her not to have been shot and killed. Now, I'm a person, I own weapons. I'm a military person. I can handle myself, without a weapon. But at the same time, we have to kind of understand the circumstances of a lady who was already known to be a prior aggressor to go back and return to be aggressive to another person again. And ultimately she becomes a victim. I don't want to say it's a victimless crime, but obviously we have to consider the circumstances of the homeowner. Because, just as much as, the lady went up to her house, and that lady got every right to open up her door and choose to not close her door. Now, would I do that? No, I personally wouldn't make that same decision. And I know for a lot of other people, they may or may not make the same personal decision for the door or not. But we have to understand that, we are dealing with the ramifications of us having a Republican majority in the Ohio Assembly. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to change and flip every district or every house district to ultimately change the makeup of the Ohio Assembly. That's just not the way Ohio is made. But we do have options in terms of what we decide to do as a people of a locale. We choose to help support a new prosecutor that would give a new lens or at least a new set of eyes on situations like this. To me, this is just, again, my opinion. I think with all the prospecting and all the maybes and shoulda, coulda, wouldas, I think we're only doing nothing more than further traumatizing ourselves from a lot of the bad other decisions that we have seen Joe Dieters make in terms of what we call justice here in the city. I don't think this case is the one that we really want to hang our hat on in terms of questioning whether or not we have a fair and impartial process here in the county. I just think this is a bad example. Number two, yes, I believe we should have a Black agenda here in the city of Cincinnati. I agree. But we have to also understand here that there's typically only 30% voter turnout for Hamilton, for city council races. If you look at the historical data in 2017 and anything about basic politics, candidates aren't going to spend their time in areas where they have extremely low voter turnout. They're just going to take and accept whatever comes from that area historically and move on from there. Now, if there was a trend of, a 600% of newly registered voters in a particular Black area, I bet my bottom dollar you'll have candidates having their butts and their teams over in those areas because those are newly engaged voters who are unlikely to be predictive in terms of who they're going to vote for. So then they want to go and cultivate those votes. Look, I think on a lot of things, we fall into a trap of trying to put the cart before the horse. If 30% of the city only votes, we got to figure, I'm willing to bet less than 10% of that is actually Black voter turnout, which means you can have anywhere from 20 to 30, 20 to 25%, I would say, of white people who are voting. And of that 20 to 25%, then you got to figure out how many of them are white moderates, how many of them are white Republicans, and then you pretty much go from there. Typically, we're in a strong Democratic area on paper, but we don't have a strong Democratic turnout from the overall body of people that are eligible to vote in Cincinnati. And I think really, if we really want to get somewhere, we really have to start understanding that we can't put the cart before the horse. We can't ask for policies that not have a voting electorate that doesn't have the support that particular legislator needs. I don't want to use the word politician. A legislator may need in order for that policy to enact, because otherwise it's not going to get enacted. And legislators don't sign up to run for office to lose on ideas just because they're grandiose. Hey, I really support people who do have that energy and they are trying to take Cincinnati in a new direction. I firmly support that. But we, as the people of the city of Cincinnati who make up the voting bloc, we got to understand, statistically speaking, if we don't have an overwhelming show of support at the polls, we're not going to get any of the policies that we're so desiring. So that's all I got, man. I appreciate your time and, the conversation going.
All right. Appreciate the call, man. That's Terrence checking in. Yeah, we leveling up all the way. Previous calls. Well, number one, I would say we're not hanging our hat on our critique about Joe Dieters on this case. I'm not doing that. I don't think anybody else is. This is just the latest case to talk about. I think there's some interesting things to unpack. And I think what makes it an interesting conversation piece is, number one, the timing of it. And number two, the fact that, there's so many different opinions based upon the small parts of it. Like, should you open the door? Should you not open the door? Going to somebody's house, they were friends. There's all these little details in it that I want to kind of put ourselves in that kind of situation to ask yourself what you should do. But my opinion about Joe Dieters is not going to be swayed based upon this case. I don't think anybody else per se. And I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe if there was a black agenda or some type of policy agenda that was attractive to some of these, the people, the voters in these precincts with the low turnout, maybe that's what the people need to bring them out. It certainly ain't what we're doing right now. It's got to be bigger than just the personalities of the particular people running for these offices, because if that was enough, then the turnout would go up. I think it's voter education, and it's also giving people something to vote for. Rather than just saying you got a responsibility to get out of here and vote and your ancestors died for this and all this kind of stuff, giving people something to feel as if when they come out and vote, something's going to change. It's going to have a real impact. So I think until we figure out what that is and develop it, we're not going to see any increased turnout in some of these, unfortunately, primarily black dominated precincts. I think those they don't believe. The personalities ain't working on them. The parties are not doing enough to reach out to them. And there's no real policy agenda that they feel like they should really invest their time in. That's what I think. That's what I wonder. That's what I believe. I don't know 100%, but I appreciate the flows. All great flows. Looking at the clock, it's about that time. Can we talk about the fact that she was a law student? Damn. Yeah, but that doesn't really matter that much, Deborah. How much does that matter? Law student or unemployed? Not that has a law student or medical student, or let's say she wasn't in college. I mean, all that's irrelevant. Like, it made the story interesting at first because people were like, including myself, well, why would an NKU law student be getting involved with something that would lead to her death in Walnut Hills? It's like, right? Because we've got our bias as to what a law student is and who a law student is and what they're supposed to do, right? When you think law student, you don't think that, right? But once you get beyond that lens, shit, people. You can be a law student and be on dumbish. You can be a doctoral student and be on the dumbest ish ever. One has nothing to do with the others in that case. So, hey, listen, family, I really appreciate you. I got to make a move. I didn't get to everything this morning. And I got a couple of things that I want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet this week. And we're going to dig into it and unpack it starting tomorrow. I've got guests lined up throughout the rest of the week as well. Tomorrow we have Steve Gooden. He's a member of City Council. He's supposed to give us a Zoom style call into the show. We'll spend about 15, 20 minutes with him as I'm reaching out to all the council candidates. We've also got the founder of Boss, There's a brand new premiere of, I think it's a documentary type of thing, but highlighting and profiling the experiences of Black women in Cincinnati. She's supposed to join us tomorrow via Zoom style call to talk about that. Then on Friday, we got the president of the Sentinels. There's some issues around the Sentinels, and I want to get his thoughts about their endorsements. Like, what does that mean to be endorsed by the Sentinels? What are they looking for from the council, mayor, and a new police chief? So all that stuff is local. You know, that's what my wheelhouse is. We'll talk about everything. We talk about the national stuff and all that, but we definitely want to hit the local stuff here on the Nathan Ivey Show. So just to give you an update and a heads up on that. All right. Have an excellent rest of your day. Today is hump day. I'll be back and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning. We'll chop it up on everything that's going on. You name it, we'll be talking about it. Remember our motto, family. Let's say it together. Let's say it together. Winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.